We've arrived, and so have you. Welcome to the Nace Star League. It's Valorant all day. 2 best-of-3s for the Valorant last chance qualifier round of 6. We got 2 matches, and they are going to be absolutely beautiful to see who's going to continue fighting their way to make their way into those playoffs. My name is Los, joined by Vincent, and boy, do we have a wonderful first matchup for you.
That we do. Lots to go on today, and you know what? We've been talking about playoffs, and we're just about there. It's the last chance to get into those playoffs. These are the matchups that we're going to have to look at. It's Cornell College going to go up against Western Kentucky University, and then Viterbo, which I've never actually seen before, and then against Bushnell University. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, Los.
Absolutely, and you know, if we haven't heard of Viterbo, even as a school, maybe as a collegiate place, they may be a sleeper. Might be a sleeper, and we'll be able to be supremely surprised by this one. But we got to talk about the docket up for today. Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers versus Cornell College. This should be fun because this is a team, of course, they've gone up against each other earlier in this season, and it was a 3-mapper. So this is going to be a tooth and nail matchup, certainly.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And I mean, I'll be honest, the other exciting side of that is that both of these teams coming in at 4-3. So they had a similar experience during the regular season. Didn't quite make it through to the playoffs as that first seed, but they have a chance to do it here and now. And here is what we have to look forward to as well. Considering the fact that it's going to be Bread 6, Fat Table, Vanthanor, and Lind there for Cornell College, and all for Western Kentucky, Kiwi Vision, Courtney, and Davrin alongside Savior. I'm very familiar with Western Kentucky in that Vision and I, we share a lot.
I thought you were about to bring out a stat. Similar in name, hopefully similar in brain, and that is going to be an easy IGL victory on this one. Simply a strategy differences. But maybe we'll take a look at what the banning strategies were as we head over to the map veto. On the docket for us today, it's going to start off with Haven, Lotus, and Ascent. Lotus is a mainstay, Vincent. This is every single series in the collegiate. Everyone is running this now. It's just such a comfort pick.
I think I said that in the collegiate on the collegiate broadcast we had earlier this week, but I'll repeat it here because it has totally been a thing where people don't want to play Fracture. That's just the reality. And for some reason, I don't understand why, but Pearl is also just not something people like to play. I don't get that one. And then Split is really hard. So you got like 3 maps in the pool that people are avoiding. And so it just works out that everybody's got, well, you know, I guess we'll play Lotus. It'll be fine. There's no problem there. So I love it. I'm excited for it. The more I see Lotus, the more I enjoy it. And I mean, we've been seeing good Lotus games throughout the collegiate scene. Don't see why this would be any different at all. So with that coming up, though, I do have to mention that 3 maps, you're right, but it's more than that. It was a 13-10 game in the first map, and then a 16-14 thriller in the second map. Last time these 2 teams met, that is. And 4 out of the 6 games that Cornell have played this season, well, they've all gone to the 3rd map. 4 of those. So Cornell, they don't necessarily win in 2, but man, do they win in 3.
Absolutely, it's a team that doesn't give up, but also might be a situation where maybe they could slip up, and that's going to be a problem. Western Kentucky is able to find a bit of weakness in their opponents and eventually turn the tides, because still a 4-3 team that we're looking at. They lost multiple times in that final map, so a reverse sweep might be on the cards, might be a little back and forth. In the end of the day, no need to project. We got to look at Haven, and there's already a pick of Gecko with Vision, so certainly going to be excited. Also, Phoenix. Forgot this dude was even in the game.
Yeah, I feel like we only see this pick on Pearl. That's the only time Phoenix has ever actually been used, as of late at least. But realistically, having a Phoenix isn't necessarily a bad thing. The reason that Phoenix has not been traditionally picked as of late isn't because he's a bad agent pick or anything like that. It's really just a matter of there's other agents that do the job just a little bit better or have better strengths than what Phoenix offers. And so that means that a good Phoenix is still going to be a very good Phoenix no matter what.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to Haven specifically, it's very difficult to get into a position that really allows you to take advantage of those curveballs. On the defense, it's actually pretty nice because you get to be in control of those angles when it comes to long. You can send the curveball at anyone going up long. But on the attacking side, not quite the case for you to be able to put yourself in a place where it really makes sense. But a default look off the rip, no one making any decent commitments. There was a look from Savior and Vision off Garage, but they decided to move away.
Yeah, just an idea, but it will fall by the wayside for the time being. I do like the control. WKU currently gathering here down in sewer. This Trailblazer might be a bit of a problem. Just going to try to ensure that only one player is spotted, and I think that was successful, all things considered. Here's the push.
That in the back line, hit with the vulnerability, but sticking beyond that part of the box. They'll remain safe. And Fed is able to pick up 2 as Bull will be there for the trade. And it's a nice, clean take onto A.
A good pace change there. Immediately after the Trailblazer comes through, they were able to get into position as that expired. And chances of getting back in here are going to be difficult. Maybe made easier by Savior getting that pick.
That was Dizzy utilized. They have potentially a curveball to clear out Sewer. The second that Savior even has a look, though, it's Cable picking up 2 more to close this one out.
So a good start. Western Kentucky getting themselves into a good position and moving forward. Though, with that said, I say Western Kentucky. I've got things flipped around. It's actually Cornell on the offense here. At least I believe so. Yeah. I'm a little bit crazy. We have things a bit flipped around. Nonetheless, Cornell taking the opening round, and off the back of that, strong start for Fett. A couple of Bulldogs.
Come on now. You know I'm a big fan of those Bulldogs. Are they gonna bark? Will they be howling or yelping? Fett with a neat dash in, but at this point, everyone is going to face the massacre that falls beyond all this breach utility.
Yeah, pretty simple stuff, and well, at least Court will be able to find a kill in that endeavor, but it's really just limited to that. Huey, the last player alive for Western Kentucky, and they not even going to give them that fight. Just deciding, you know what? It's fine. We're going to leave it all alone.
Yeah, that's annoying. That's frustrating when high-level tactics are being used on anti-eco. You have to be frustrated on that one. Kiwi thought, okay, I'll just send it. Let's move into the next round already.
Yeah. How dare you not give me free shots at getting a kill? Come on, man. It's running away.
And that's frustrating, right? You know, like
give me
the
the
game
free
exciting. Make the game exciting, Cornell.
You know, how dare them try to do the winning? Truly despicable, I know. A good start, though. Cornell taking that 2-0 lead. It's the gun round time. An Odin out immediately. Interesting for Vision. I'm not opposed by any means.
Taking a look in the obvious location, they'd be in Garage. Nobody there to meet them, though, through grass. Could be the case if spam is utilized soon in a rotation, but not quite. Big presence by A lobby, though. Ooh, that's a beautiful Bucky. Not gonna lie, that's fantastic looking. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Buck.
You don't see a lot of Prime Buckies around, I don't feel like. Is that in the first Prime collection? I don't know. Here's the B push.
Oh, and it's going to work out pretty nicely here for Cornell. They walked in. Good use of the haunt allowed them to exploit the kill. Secure that on to Davran. Post plant will be a bit of a different story. Breadsticks caught out the backside. Vision here with the Odin, but it only works out for one. And it'll be Fett who takes control of that Gatling gun. Looking for a fourth, potentially. Spotted out the final player of Kiwi, but not willing to risk their life for it.
That'll be Kiwi finally falling down. It's a very fast take towards that B side. I love the pace change, right, as well. Cornell, and you mentioned it, right? Getting, 4 players grouped up towards the A site. I thought initially that they were going to go that direction. They immediately start rotating off and instead go towards B, get on the site basically for free, and then hang on to it in beautiful fashion. It is precisely what you would be looking for, and, well, not ideal to give an Odin over either, but I guess Western Kentucky gonna have to deal with that here and now. And there it is. Yep. Terrorizing anybody who even thinks about going into garage.
A nice dissuading factor, and similar to the Nano Swarm, that'll keep them away, keep them out for a moment. Courtnemy is going to be in a world of hurt with the paranoia, or you would so expect, but the continued distribution of pain from the Nano Swarms will keep them alive to tell the tale. But for how long?
Well, Savior not going to have longer to live there. That's a good aggressive maneuver. Davran gets 2 out of it with the Stinger. It does eventually fall, and it's an equalizer 3-on-3 Los, but that's actually fantastic work from the Western Kentucky aggression. Finding a lot of information and a rotation here. Nemi is going to be in position.
Well, here's that move with the frenzy. And unfortunately, it didn't make it too easy for the friends, you see. So Western Kentucky, 2-3. Nothing really in hands for this one.
Yeah, it's not looking ideal, that's for sure. The Trailblazer does go out. It doesn't really find the information you'd be looking for, and yeah, this one's just about over. Kiwi alone.
Give it a shot. Why not? I think he might have a Stinger in hand. Vanthanor gets hit with that guiding light, but a quick peek away from that flash makes it quick work, really, to close things out. 4-0. Currently, Cornell College having a blast, and it's going to lead us into a timeout from Western Kentucky.
Yeah, good timeout. Considering the timing and everything, makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Western Kentucky, they haven't found anything really consistent yet. And I'm starting to wonder kind of what that is exactly down to. We saw in some of those aggressive maneuvers, I mean, Davran found some success. So I don't think there's a significant difference, at least not yet, when it comes to the fragging potential, you know, the firepower. That's not been the problem, but getting onto those sites has been relatively easy. A lot of retake scenarios, and when they haven't been playing retake, it's mostly on ecos. So maybe we need to see a little bit more of a commitment to those early fights, see some aggression on the defense, something along those lines, Los, to actually have control and preemptively get players in position.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Western Kentucky, they're looking at a composition that is very well endowed for attacking onto a site with the breach, the fade, the paranoia that comes in with an omen, as well as the jet. There's a lot of speed that is involved with Cornell, and they do have some hard stops. They've got the hot hands, they've got the nano swarms, and Courtnemy has used them pretty effectively, but we haven't seen a major commitment that actually leads into success. So I think relying on those tools of deterring a push is going to be critical so that they could all be in a position to support each other rather than one person holding one angle, and once that falls, it's over. Let's see how these angles hold up, because we got a rolling thunder going on to B.
Yeah, that's going to come out quickly moving forward. Running back's actually engaged, though I don't know precisely where that is. It doesn't find any kill, that's for sure.
Lend had an opportunity. They saw the dizzy from vision, but didn't make a commitment to keep looking at that angle, and this is a fantastic retake. A lockdown or a detain onto Vanthanor, and that'll clean up the first round for Western Kentucky. A beautiful performance and a stark contrast of what we see in the first 4 rounds.
Yeah, that thrash really did a good job of deterring any sort of attempt at bringing that back into the Cornell College favor, but you know what really was the turning point for me, though, was specifically that aggression and the flank kept coming through. Remember, just got done saying, hey, probably would like to see Western Kentucky play a bit more aggressive. Well, they did it. They got into a position where they could get a flank onto Cornell, and and that put a lot of pressure on them and weren't able to continue holding on to that site because they were hemorrhaging players left and right. 4-1 the scoreline. Oh, look at this. More aggression. 2 players. The guiding light, but it's going to be defeated immediately. Goodbye to Savior.
That's a big loss. You have flashes, you've got the cabbages. That is 3 going down into the sewers. That's an alarm ringing off in Western Kentucky. Do they want to make the commitment? They have to, but Vision with a beautiful flank out on grass has kept them pinched in, pinned inside like a bunch of scared turkeys, Vincent. They don't know what to do.
And the best part about it is Vision just falls all the way back as well. Doesn't recommit to this. Just takes that advantage gathered and walks away. That's something that a lot of teams struggle with. Unfortunately, the later repeak will be their undoing. And so with that, an adjustment, though only temporary for Cornell. They've still got 45 seconds, and they can rotate out. They've done that. It's back towards the A site where Los, there's nobody here. Empty.
What a great opportunity. What a great move. Nightfall will confirm it's wide open for the taking. Kiwi may be able to send in a guiding light, but what are they going to do? They've got no backup, and there's still a player down. Not much to do in terms of ultimates, just the from the shadows if you could get a flank, but that certainly won't amount to much. They have to gun brawl this out. They have to duke it out simply with the guiding light. Doesn't find much of anything. The Haunt even gets an idea of who's moving through CT, but 2 kills come in for Western Kentucky. Breadsticks removes it down to 1, so Devran has to try and jump out from heaven. Unfortunately for them, Breadsticks is waiting with open arms.
So Cornell allowed a round, but they immediately bite back. They bite back hard. They invested into that round pretty heavily when it comes to the weaponry, but all they needed was just the Nightfall to get them onto the site. Well, that was open anyway, because whoever was making the calls for rotations beautifully pulled Western Kentucky left and right and all over. It all started with that initial pick. Savior going down early. And it's back to A, it would seem. Or at least the initial attempt towards the A site. But in the meantime, Los, this is actually a good call from the defense. Western Kentucky, they noticed nobody's here at mid, and Vision is pushing that as well.
So from the shadows, it's recalled pretty quickly, and that's for good reason. It was looking at the flank potential from Vision. Vision is not committing to that, though. It'll be a full 5-man retake coming from CT. A little bit of burn onto Breadsticks, but it's the lockdown that you really have to worry about. Aftershock potential on this? No, won't be committed. They have to retreat.
Yeah, I didn't have the angle to get there. I think you have to be... There's a specific angle you have to be at to get there. Maybe it was already used. Either way, allowing them to get in, and this paranoia should catch 2 players.
Maybe they didn't hear it through that paranoia. Might have been deafened. Oh, God. The second this dark cover falls, it's Devran and Kiwi running a massacre and even a 4K with a right-click classic. When we see Western Kentucky win, they do it in such dominant fashion.
I mean, Devran specifically, 4 frags, beautiful stuff. And, I mean, talk about a very nice fashion. A little bit of flair, some style there at the end with the right click on the classic. Fun stuff, to say the least. Cornell didn't really have anything to say about it. Couldn't say anything about it more aptly. Still, weaponry in their hands. They've got the Blade Storm alongside it. Didn't necessarily have the high impact last time, but we've seen what Fett can do with a rifle. Surely the Blades are thereabouts.
Oof. Not able to land the shot and hit with a teammate's fault line as well. But they're going to get hit with something a little more shocking, a little more trembling. It's Savior in the corner with the Odin. But Cable just says, you know, I'll do you one better. And takes 2 right back from Western Kentucky.
It looked so good until it didn't. Now Western Kentucky arguably in a worse spot than they were before because they've got 3 sites to hold and only 3 players to hold it. And they've split 1-1-1. Not to say that's a mistake, but what it is very exposed and very difficult to hang on to. The good news, though, is that they don't have, even though they don't have anybody towards garage, Killjoy still alive, which means that they can use that recon bot to ensure that no position is uncovered. 35 seconds remaining. They're still from the shadows on the defense, so could offer a fast rotation maybe, but
30 seconds left.
Here we go.
Signals, sound cues, and everything in between. It's up to Courtnemy to drop the nanoswarm. It was destroyed. There's nothing to prevent it now. Paranoia on top of them. That is going to be a terrible time. Vulnerability activated onto Breadsticks, but it doesn't matter too much. It's all about the time left. 12 seconds. Vision from the flank into Fran from Garage. The pinch is here. The crossfire finally allows a second round in a row for Western Kentucky. They're starting to heat things up.
The right direction right now for WKU. They've been moving forward, and they've been heating up a little bit here and there. Now with 3 of the last 4 rounds going in their direction, maybe they can start to build back against this lead. But there is a pretty significant problem in the way, and that is, look at the ultimate utility. There could be a lockdown to get on to A and then a rolling thunder to hold it back, and I guess that's all going to be unnecessary as it's Fett will take the leading charge with the Blades.
Oh, it's got to come down to the Phoenix play. It's Savior on the run it back. 1 kill for them, and they'll escape. That's fine. They don't mind too much because they walk out with the freebie. Maybe a little bit detained, but there's plenty of time. The spike hasn't been planted.
Oh, that's an aggressive rolling thunder. Courtnemy, unfortunately, getting tagged up by it. What that does mean is that they can no longer use that to deny the spike defuse, or better yet, allow for the rest of Western Kentucky to get into the site before things go wrong.
Oh, what a great dizzy. Lend, however, sitting in shorts. They've made quick work of Western Kentucky. It's up to Courtnemy in the 1v3, 4 HP. And there's so much utility. A flashpoint, a fault line, a double setup of nano swarms. There was no chance they were going to break in. So a good idea to try and make their way through, but even better response from Cornell.
Yeah, there just was really no way to get past all of that prepped utility. If it wasn't the flashpoint, it was going to be the nano swarms on the spike or the multiple other players ready to go. And so, as mentioned, Cornell, they are in position based on those ultimates and the ultimate utility they had at the beginning of that round to push back against WKU, and their 2-round win streak is broken. But the money is not. It's still enough to buy into this round. It's a very important round at that, because I think both teams on a nice edge getting reset.
Oh, Courtnemy. They're in a bit of trouble now. And yeah, that is going to be a swift, unfortunate death there and a quick take of C-Site.
A very interesting Nightfall being pulled out. It actually hit 3 players. Somehow the information was given over to the player that was actually towards A long, that there was 3 players pushing into A, or into mid, excuse me, but all that's done and dusted. So much utility between these defenders and the offense.
You know, with all this spray through the smoke, that's a problem. Breadsticks, however, is a solution. Here's the pinch, and there's the pinch hitter, the winner. Breadsticks in the flank, giving an extra boost and boon of hope for Cornell. They're taking things back 2 for themselves in a row, and they want to close it down in these final last duo of rounds.
Breadsticks is the breadwinner. Is that what I heard?
Something like that, at least for that one. You
Right.
know, everyone is making their contribution to the money situation. You know, Cable's got a full-time job. Lend is doing some part-time work as a cashier to add those credits. You know, everyone's doing their part.
Yeah, it's sort of like a family getting it all together. I appreciate this. This is great stuff. Cornell, straight in. Ooh, that muspet's going to make it hard to move forward. Can be a deadly maneuver to go in there.
However, with all the utility, here it comes. It's the use of the alarm bot. What does it bring them? Somehow, all that lead up, all the status effects that have created the perfect storm for Western Kentucky to bring those shots back haven't led to what they were hoping for. But King Devrand here with the Stinger might be able to change their fortune.
DeVran just lives on the stinger. Works best on the stinger, maybe. Able to pick up that one. Oh, but look at how committed everyone was from Cornell on the site. All it took was the 1-for-1. DeVran might still be alive, but at 85 health, and now the nanoswarm's continuing to be pulled out. It seems unlikely at best.
It's one of those cases you just have to go for it. And there isn't much you could do otherwise. If it wasn't going to be Len, it was going to be Breadsticks. Cornell has been able to create such impossible situations for Western Kentucky when it comes to these retakes. And, you know, they were working on a worse buy, but given the case, they were still able to turn it into a potential victory. But that potential victory, once you look at it as a bigger picture, was never going to take place.
No. Nothing to be gathered. Here we are, last round of the half. It's time to maybe pick up a fourth round, I think. Western Kentucky would be good to see that go their way. Though Cornell, they've really showed no signs of stopping. These last few rounds, it's been a bit of a very different look to their gameplay. What started as maybe more slow and steady, they were deciding where to go for a while. Now, it's just been make a decision, push the site.
DeVran, a saving grace, able to at least take one down before they fall, and it's a similar situation. Courtnemy, they've saved themselves. Lockdown activated, Dizzy put in place as well, and it's an attempt of Len to escape the site. They can't escape their fate. The spike trapped in a link. Banthanor unable to recover it, and this is a recovery instead for Western Kentucky. Makes it a respectable half. It's 4-8. They're currently struggling against Cornell.
They are, but, you know, that resurgence there at the very end of the half with that last round, see a little bit of momentum. And an 8-4 scoreline feels quite different than the 9-3. Cornell in a good position, but they're going to have to work a little bit harder for it than they would have otherwise. Western Kentucky, it does seem as though to me that DeVran needs a little help. Just a little bit. And I'm looking towards Savior, actually, to make those changes. Working on the duelist role, I think you need to be able to be the difference for your team here.
Savior has had some clever moments, some good opportunities. Sadly, though, they haven't amounted to a great deal of impact. But speaking of impact, Banthanor realizing the position they're in, take one down with the shorty, and oh lordy, that's all you can help for, right? Kiwi's gonna be in a crazy position, though, with them in that corner and such a massive amount of players, all of them coming out of garage. And DeVran with the jumping right clicks might be able to make it into a victory. The sheer numbers whittled them down, and Breadsticks with 20 HP saves the day.
Yeah, a good one, a good attempt there by the Omen on the offense, but just couldn't actually find the final frag with 20 HP too. That's a very unfortunate scenario that doesn't go their way. And now, Western Kentucky in a bit of a rough spot because of it. One thing that I've noted as well, Los, is some of these teams that are keeping with the fade, but moving away from the raise, it's quite interesting to see, as I think the fade's been quite good here for Cornell, but the reality is that a lot of teams have been moving away from that as we're finally get to see the wingman putting the spike down. Love to see that. Basically a free spike plan if you can defend it.
They certainly have. The thing is, though, they aren't able to defend themselves now that there's a lot of death being dealt by Cornell. However, what do you expect? The long-range classic certainly not going to come to fruition here, as they'll take their double-digit 10th round in not a huge cost, only losing one stinger.
Yeah, that's actually fantastic, because that'll make their bonus round all the more effective, all the more deadly, or at least potentially deadly. That said, a 10-4 scoreline, a victory here for Cornell. I think that just about seals the deal, Los. If Western Kentucky can beat this bonus, and then work into the next gun round, make their way through that, then comeback is certainly possible. We're going to get some aggression, though. That Banthanor are both pushing up in towards short. They have that position on lockdown.
Yeah, that dark cover, it's giving a decent amount of hesitation and pause for Western Kentucky. They certainly don't want to push into that. Trailblazer expended just for the initial look and safety. There isn't a ton of danger here. I mean, you've got to deal with Breadsticks and Banthanor, but I think that'll be done pretty swiftly if a Dizzy is utilized. Yeah, Breadsticks forced away, but the real problem is Banthanor. They're sitting inside of short. Breadsticks good for 1, Banthanor on 2. Fed with a recovery of the Guardian and an escape plan instead.
So, fact though that is that Cornell still have the advantage. They have a lockdown though. I don't know if they want to use it. Yep, no, they will. Gonna throw that in, but a bit overzealous. Bet kind of out in the open, more so than really they should have been, I think. And I don't think the Savior didn't appear that they had any actual position to throw that volley out from.
Oh my god, ambitious Cable. They realize that there's 2 players on long, and it's far too late for Len to defuse, but I'm just crazy. I think enough time has been wasted that they won't be able to secure this round. Yeah,
okay,
that'll be the case. Just a little under 1 second left to defuse. And that was incredibly scary, Vincent. 11 with the collateral, or at least the lineup.
Yeah.
That was absurd.
But here's the problem, Los. That actually flips the script on its head. What we saw this round, where it was Cornell that were working from behind when it came to the weaponry that they had available. They were working a bonus round. Now it's going to be Western Kentucky that feel the same pressure because they lost all their players. They all died. Cornell still have money in their pocket because they didn't force into that. They only had 1 player to rebuy a gun. That's the problem now moving into this round. It's that, well, Western Kentucky gonna really have to make this an impressive showing in a very difficult moment.
Money in the hands of Cornell. They're having an exciting chat, I'm sure, during this pause. But it leaves you wondering how confident in this team is that they're willing to expend the lockdown off the rip on a bonus. And also the fact that a lockdown was even available on the bonus goes to show how well this team is performing, how well specifically Lend is able to lend themselves for the success of Cornell.
That's a great point. It's rare to see. That's bonus round is the 3rd round in the half to get into position where you have a lockdown available. That means you're doing a lot of fragging. You know, maybe you're also getting diffuses and such. Maybe you're getting fed orbs, but regardless, you're doing a lot of fragging in those rounds too. You have to be, is the reality. And we can see precisely what I was talking about with regard to the money. It's half shields for the 3 rifles, full shields with just Spectres for the other 2 players. And Devran is one of those, though I don't think that matters. Man's done his best work on the Stinger.
I'm a big fan of his Stinger days.
Yeah.
But let's see if we can enjoy the operator time. Perhaps not given an opportunity as the dark cover forces the presence of the sniper all the way into CT. Not given a chance, but there is a lockdown now. In turn, Devran takes the bait, or at least takes this bait and turns it into a victory. Savior now wants to continue their presence, and they certainly will. Not a 3rd kill under their wings, but still enough to give them so much space and time now that the spike is already planted on C.
And this might be a moment where you just go for the save if you're Cornell. That lockdown's bought a lot of time off of it, and even beyond that, trying to clear all these angles is nigh impossible, and Defran making it clear why that's true. Red Sticks alone. And looking for an exit or 2, but will exit themselves from the situation. It will be time to try again next time. Up recovered, though, at the very least. And their savior, having that high impact that I was asking for at the half, that I was mentioning, needed to be a moment where he stepped up, has done so in this round, Los, has made the difference for his team. Western Kentucky, one more round, and they've got 4 to go to tie this game up.
Yeah, gotta commit or comment on the Phoenix abilities there. And that's where you find the real success. It's when you're playing tight angles. That's how you use those curveballs. You can send out the flash and take a quick peek. And that was a critical factor on top of that lockdown because it was forcing Cornell to run away, try and escape. And it was a nice beatdown, an extra oomph to ensure that no one was able to have any resistance for the retake on C. Now we're looking toward a lot of weak weaponry. The most that we're seeing is that recovered op, and that's all the way by Garage.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Wingman gonna take position, the mosh pit out as well, but neither of those are gonna find any sort of impact. But Cable sure will. 2 with the Sheriff.
Oh, maybe even 3. 4!
Oh!
Oh my god. Cable. They've turned this round on its head. Vision here is the last one alive. They've got 0 utility to speak of. Bait the plant, expecting someone to come from heaven. But it's actually both CT. Is the lineup good? Vision from the jaws of defeat. They bring it back. How crazy is that? Cable off of a 4K with the Sheriff. And somehow Cornell aren't able to come and collect the final frag.
Yeah, Cable's gonna be molding on that one for a while. Getting 4 kills, but there's no closer. Very tough situation, no doubt. But when you do still consider that that was a round that was only investing Sheriffs, it's also still very impressive. And Cornell can't be too sad about getting 4 kills on an eco round. That said, it's now 3 away from tying this game up for Western Kentucky. They've got a very significant spread across this field. Made themselves in on the C site, though. They're going to be grouping back towards A. This is 3 ultimates ready to go. Run it back included.
Here's Thrash. That's a problem for them, but it's the fault line that stops the push into A long. Thrash is still making their way through and followed on top of Savior, activating the run it back. Unfortunately, everyone has ran back from Cornell and won't be able to find anything extra.
Trailblazer was sent out to find some information. Rolling Thunder for the defense moving forward, and they've wasted no time.
Certainly not. Fett with a 3K. It was much too fast, much too lightning quick. The Rolling Thunder had arrived, and there wasn't even time for the spike to be planted for Western Kentucky. They still got some money for potentially a half buy or a hero rifle or so. Or will they stick to simply a save?
Just the opposite, I think. Well, or not. Looked like they were going to go full invest mode for a moment, but instead, they've elected to maybe take the more conservative approach, which is make sure we get another gun round, right? We could go for 2 aggressive buys in a row. Basically, you buy no matter the outcome, because if you lose, well, it's up against map point, and if you win, then you have money. But Visions, that is fantastic. We thought it was Devran with the Stinger that was doing the work, but it's actually a team effort, it seems. That weapon is deadly.
Major flood of players through Garage, both the window and onto C proper. Devran is here with the Spectre. A little upgrade from the little brother SMG. Red Stick's just beyond that guiding light. And it gives them the perfect opportunity to work with Banthanor to break on through into Garage. This was a effective half buy, at least at securing the spike plant. But it still is going to cost them map point.
That it is. The exit strategy from Garage window just wasn't there, Los. There was no way to get out fast enough. And once again, Cornell, I didn't feel like they were really outpacing their opposition early into this map. But late, these last, I don't know, 3-4 rounds, it's felt like Cornell have just decided everything is happening at 300 miles per hour. They're in an F1 car. They're zooming. And with that, it's had some success. To be fair, it has some weaknesses too. And we saw some of that with Western Kentucky picking up 3 rounds in a row prior to this 2-round run from Cornell.
I've got your trail.
I would say, not to say a last-ditch effort, but it essentially is a break into B. And the second that it's accepted, you've got utility from either angle. 2 players on each link at least. So this is going to be a world of hurt, an attempt for them to break on through Western Kentucky via Savior. I've cleared out at least 1 player from Link. But the fight is far from over, especially now that Vision will take another one onto Breadsticks, but they backed off because the lockdown is in play.
Cable finding that first kill, but Devran continuously delivering. And Los, that's from Garage. It's going to be so hard to move Devran out of those positions. The spike's already ticking low. I don't know if this is winnable.
It's a one-dimensional play. They're both coming from Link, but Cable, through the smoke, has secured a third. Spike is still being bombarded with the Nano Swarm, and it's up to Cable to somehow secure another 2 kills. And it simply can't be done. Vision from the Cubby as well as those Nano Swarms. It was too much pressure, too much damage coming through. Western Kentucky will stay alive for just another round.
Indeed. And, I mean, that's actually one of the things to note about Dizzy. It is not necessarily all about when you're looking at it. You still get a little blinded, despite you turning away, whatever you want to do. You got to take that shot. And that's probably something that they just haven't actually played against very often. And so for that reason, it's a learning curve.
No real fighters here on C, just the turret. 5 players in lobby looking to make this happen. But the second that this is committed, it may be a situation of the Nanoswarm destroying the wingman? No. Far too away, and clearly Banthanor is away from this game, away from their headphones to not notice the massive amount of players running up long. The spike's been planted, and everybody from Western Kentucky has retreated to long.
Thrash prepped and ready. That's gonna go. That's 6 seconds to find someone, and there's Lind caught out. That's free, and Cornell, I don't think they're gonna win this one either. This is a tough one. They cannot keep walking away with these rounds going Western Kentucky's way. It's been a brilliant half, at least the first half was. And they made it look easy in the opening stages of this one too, but Cornell, at this point, they're certainly starting to get a little worried, I'd imagine.
Cover going out.
I mean, there's plenty of reason for that to be the case. 3 rounds away. I mean, decent amount of ultimates. We've got the op back on Fett. It's a confidence buy, yet I'm not sure if we even have seen an op kill. Maybe 1. But Fett's never been given the real chance to use it as a dark cover coming from Devran is often what's stopping them. A paranoia being imparted onto the site forces a retreat. So there's never been a moment where this has come through. So perhaps if it's actually able to activate Vincent, this may be the final push that Cornell will gain.
Well, and that's the beauty of having all these extra rounds to work with, right? Is that you can just build up your ult economy until it's so overwhelming, like this, 4 against none, that you just have to win, right? I mean, you don't have to. That we've seen it many a time where ultimates don't win you rounds, but point is it makes it easier, and this is maybe one of those times.
That looking at a whole lot of nothing. The pressure is in Garage. All 5 are about to make their way through. It's really about to come down to Banthanor. Sitting by the box with a Bucky in hand. That's only good for 1. For 1 on a Bucky, you honestly can't complain about that. Devran finding a kill into C-Link, that's something you're not happy about.
They're going to invest the Rolling Thunder here. This seems maybe a little question. They're doing it all. The lockdown as well for the attackers. And there's just 2 members remaining.
Oh, what a horrible state of affairs. And you could tell that it's going to be Cable stuck inside of that lockdown, hit with the detain. Leave it up to Breadsticks. So much time is being wasted, though. And all 3 players have flashes, they have utility. That just ruins your day. No one can make the commitment because a simple peek off that, while Breadsticks was able to take down 2 in amazing fashion, you simply can't outwin that numbers maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, Los. That amount of commitment on a round where really Cornell didn't have a ton to work with, I feel like they would have been better served to wait a little bit. That's my take, but, well, we'll see what others are there, as this is another sort of half-invest round for Cornell because they don't have the money, and this is getting out of hand. Western Kentucky, they very well can push this to overtime now.
We've got 3 players here to commit onto A. 5 in total on the attack. Breadsticks not able to land a kill onto Savior, but it does destroy the Dizzy. Haunt gives a ton of information. But at this point, it doesn't matter how much you know if you don't have a chance to fire back. And at this point, Cornell can't shoot, and they can't see what the hell is going on here.
That's a flawless round. That is incredible work. Western Kentucky, they're on the run back. The scoreline was dire at one point not long ago. But it's been, what, 7 rounds? Not quite in a row, but 7 rounds out of 9. So, from, what, 10 to 3? Just about? Yeah, that's what it was. Scary stuff for Cornell. They are now up against a brick wall. What do they do? How do they deal with what they're working with this round? They're gonna have weaponry, as we are in a bit of a pause right now, which means they've got guns, but there's nothing more other than the aim really to bring them over the edge. I mean, wasted is the wrong term, but they over-invested the ultimate advantage that they had gathered in that previous gun round.
It feels that the retake situation from Cornell is non-existent. They're great on the attack, great in their ability to take a site and hold it, but when they need to do it themselves, when they want to take it back, there is nothing but struggle from this team. Oh, no op this time. Can't afford it, but also I don't think it was actually a major help to this squad at all. Not a single kill found in that situation. Just a from the shadows for Cornell. It could be good for some information, but this is a dire situation.
Yeah, information, or maybe get very creative with it. I'd love to see that. Mufet gonna at least take a peek. Run it back towards C. The rest of the team running up long. A nice bait and switch maneuver, but Savior's gonna be sent back and the Dizzy out. Nobody home here on the site. Vision will put the spike down, and here's that comeback, or rather, that retake that we were talking about. And Fet just a little bit too wide, Los. This has happened far too often.
Yeah, and now because of that situation, because of the commitment early on, that's leaving them out of position, out of numbers, out of whack for the retake. Vision does fall, and Breadstick sending out the Prowler, but here's the thing. You've got a flank from Savior. You are absolutely outmaneuvered, in Western Kentucky from 8-4 made it all the way to overtime.
What a brilliant comeback this has been. DeVran at 26. I mean, K-Ball's at the same exact score line on the 26 frag. 19 deaths as well, ironically. But the big difference is that we've been seeing the rest of the team for Western Kentucky step up big time. Vision. Xavier has absolutely been delivering. I asked that at halftime. I said, Xavier probably needs to get a little bit more involved. Has done so brilliantly, Los. That's exactly what I wanted to see. And now it's a shootout for the first map of this series.
Savior have the first bullet fired. Now they're forced to run away. Yet Vision, on an epic peek out of garage into grass, they secured the first kill. Cornell, they gotta be thinking to themselves, how do we recover from this? What is going on? It's got to be A, though.
the most aggression out towards out from garage and into mid that I've ever seen, consistently being put forth by Vision and WKU. Hard cover is going to make it a little bit harder as well, and the positioning from the Omen is great.
What a wonderful quick 2 from Bull, as well as Fet Cable. Sends out the aftershock as well. Buy some time, buy some space for the spike to be planted. And this is a similar situation, only the script and the team is flipped. Western Kentucky, they are going to need a Herculean effort to break onto the site, especially if you want to walk through the wall of bullets out of Banthenor's Odin.
It's hard to walk through, given the entirety of the clip going their way. Great patience right now.
What a peek, Courtnemy. They've taken down 2, but it's a 1v2 for HP. And the second that dark cover dissipated, it'll be Fet to collect the final kill. 1 round away from making their way and taking Haven. But here's the kicker. They have to win on defense. Not something they're very keen on.
No, but, I mean, to be fair, we've been seeing them consistently able to play it close. Well, not consistently. Regularly been able to play it close. And now they just need to bring it over the edge. That's it. One task here at the end of the game, or it could be the end of the game. What an aggressive maneuver from Fet. Has to put the Cloudburst down to allow him to get out.
Xavier's got a whole lot of questions, but Breadstick's gonna provide an answer. Devran is down, and so is Breadsticks. A quick 1-for-1 as Courtnemy will take a nice kill on B. Nobody there to greet them yet, but a shot into C-Link is powerful indeed.
And it is still players 4v4. Getting that spike down, that's got to be priority 1. We're approaching the 1 minute mark, and still no spike to be planted, no site to be had for that matter.
Oh, big opportunity off Savior, but it is squandered. What a major loss. Lend with 16 HP. Vision is sending out the wingman as well as the Dizzy. Everything in their pocket just to coordinate down this sight line. The last 2 are coming from CT. It's Cable and Lend. Vision, they may be able to lock down this round, but it all comes down to Lend as well as Cable. They've had such a difficult time to break on through, and Cable's down. This is going to double overtime, surely.
And it is. Guaranteed. We do it all again. And this is certainly shaping up to be similar to that first series we saw. It was a 16-14 win. In that one, that was a victory for Cornell. But Cornell no longer have the advantage at the moment. They're back to a side game. They're also back on the attack. This is where their best and brightest ideas have come from. And with that, you're going to see a bit more of a defaulty setup right now. Cornell spreading themselves across this board. Really dark cover out at long as well. A little bit of an interesting maneuver, just to make sure that nobody can see anything, nobody can find any information. And speaking of, I mean, the lack of a Sova makes that difficult to start. If it wasn't difficult before, it's very difficult now.
Investigative look toward B. No one taking a shot yet. You've got Devran here. Activates that dark cover. Wants to ensure no one will find their way through. 2 players in sewer, 4 in A lobby, but the fault line, that may create an opportunity. Cable wants to be the first one into this fight, walks right beyond the guiding light, and takes a fight. Savior, though, will there be for a trade. Lend may provide a bit more of a difficult foe, but all this time, you've got such a split situation. Vision will cut through the default and catches out an important player sitting on site, a B.
It's a massive find. An equalizer, in fact. But I like the slower approach, at least by these 2 players for Cornell. Getting themselves into garage. Gonna put up the dark cover. There are rotations here. The site should be able to get there, and they will. Not only that, Saviors is
What
on
is-
it.
What is Panthenor doing right inside the Nano Swarm? But it works out for them. Vision shooting through the boxes. This has to be a kill, but it won't be somehow. Panthenor backing away. Fett provides the cover from CT. It's a thrash now. But they'll check the wrong angle, the wrong place, wrong time. And hitting behind the box, hoping to pull out the rifle. Fett recruits this final potential round. They steal it away from Vision, hoping for safety, only finding defeat.
A laborious round there for Western Kentucky. Cornell the same, but more so for WKU because they lost it, and now they got to figure out how to get back into this once again. Another map point for Cornell. I'm no longer counting, but this is a lot of them. They've been given up time and time again. It's at least number 9 map point, I think. So, a little bit more of a one-dimensional approach this time by Cornell. They've been playing farther back. They've been playing a bit more the spread defense, and I guess they're going to go back to that now at this point. Maybe they expected a push towards Garage. That has happened regularly, but, I mean, maybe not that regularly.
This all comes down to the first kill. A possibility right now. I believe if it's going to be Lend who
Blinded.
finds a first frag from an inquisitive Duran, as they want to stick their nose further into CT and C-Link. That's going to be a problem. Cable going down, that's a big issue. The follow-up, though, is going to really rely on Savior. There was an idea that it was going to be B, but now with the activation of the spike on A, Breadsticks and Fett had no clue what the plan was. And it's really Savior saving this round, saving this game, saving the possibility of going in or losing this round. We're headed in to triple overtime. How incredible for this map to still continue.
I mean, showing no signs of stopping either. Nobody can pick up 2 rounds in a row. And that's the problem here. The problem is that, well, as soon as Western Kentucky pick up 1 round, it's immediately answered, and more Cornell picking up the round first. But you get the point. That last round, it felt like there was so many ideas being tossed around, and none of them really put together all that well. See if that changes. Cornell back in towards mid. A lot of pressure being applied to this mid area. Oh boy. That's a freebie. Savior gonna go down. But are they gonna peek this? No, they will not. The adjustment made immediately, though.
Cable coming in with the aftershock, but it doesn't matter too much because the play is too swift, too fast. Breadsticks wanted to end it here and now, but now it's dropped it into a 1v1. Kiwi has the Trailblazer. They've got everything they need with the information that there's a player inside of that dark cover. It's not the result they were hoping for a chomp, a stun, but it won't be the case. They're in a much more favorable position. Panthenor so low. It's all about who peeks, who creeps around first. Panthenor knows. They know where Kiwi is, but they just don't want to make the commitment.
This is incredibly close when you look at it. 30 seconds, and they're right beside each other. It's all about timing. Oh, and they're going to be found. Kiwi down. And Panthenor with the 3K will have another map point for Cornell. Los, they've done it again. Cornell keep finding the map point advantage, but they keep losing it.
This is ridiculous. This cannot be allowed to continue. Then again, if this does continue, it'll be the same exact scoreline that Cornell previously found victory against Western Kentucky in the regular season, 16-14, a true possibility.
Absolutely. A little bit of own spam there out on the outset. WKU, a little expensive, but no problem whatsoever. Oh, Fett spotted a couple of players. Really should fall back here. And has done so. Right calls being made. A good trade as well.
Savior certainly stepping up in the previous rounds, at least in the second half, and as well as overtime. They'll continue through. No more curveballs to walk on through. Devran through a shrouded step that didn't seem like it was possibly safe. It does secure them a victory. Western Kentucky, they've taken the site, and they've taken more lives than they expected to. And they'll continue doing so. The dark cover is a dark omen. A dark tide has swept over Western Kentucky. Or at least Cornell, because we are headed into quadruple overtime.
All the times, they're all over. It's Cornell College, man. They're stalwart in their approach for the attack at the very least, but man, they just can't find a singular defensive round, no matter how much it looks like they have a handle on things. It all seems to fall apart at the last moment. Time to go again. It'll be more aggression, styled up, vision, pushing outside of mid, and you know, I praised him last time for it. Now I'm gonna be a little more negative in that. Yeah, at this point, you pushed mid a lot. You probably should expect there to be a player or two there waiting for you.
Slow creep up C-Long. That's the big issue. Well, even bigger as issues go. There's no utility on here. It's a freebie. The Killjoy setup's back on A. There's nothing to stop Cornell. Then again, they're fine with taking the attacking round. I think it all comes down to whoever wins on defense first is going to find victory. That's how it's going down, Vincent. That's the only way.
Absolutely. That'll be the what closes this. And here we are, Los. Another 4-on-4. Time to go for Western Kentucky. They've got a good chance with the situation the way it is. Guard covers go out. So much spam available, and they've got it on lock.
There it is. That's going to be the signal. It shall be a 16th round for Cornell. Which, okay, great. Well done indeed, to be sure. But the big issue is, can you close it out? Cornell has a major issue with closing out. You see CC in the top right? Can't close is actually what it stands for. They have to finish it down right here and now on defense, and we just haven't been given evidence.
Oh, no. It's a little bit too perfect, isn't it? And you're right, the evidence is certainly not there. And until we see it, well, maybe it will be can't close. Well, right now, I'm going to see a little bit more of the same. That's fantastic work. Banthanor finding the opening pick, and you can see that Fett, who is playing aggressively, kind of playing a little bit of a bait and switch with that Odin, falls back because, well, job's done. The opening pick is theirs. It's just about that.
Xavier. They want revenge. They'll be looking for it. Anthonor sending out the paranoia. They'll look at it again, but don't even expect a single player to be up inside of the window. So that's 1 for 1. An equal trade that they'll take. Sending out utility onto C, but it's just a fakie. They don't actually want to commit here.
No, not quite, but there's a in line to be found, and Xavier down again. This might be it. This might be the actual closer this time for real.
Because they have that utility stopping a Western Kentucky from getting on. Staying alive. Len sticking around the block. Ensuring that the utility will still be active, will be in range. Now everything's been expended. It's time to take a fight. Len loses it instantaneously, but Fett's here to continue the fight. Cable out from CT, and the dash right onto Courtnemy. It's not good enough for the kill, but it's good enough for Cable to follow it up, and Cornell will be able to finish out Haven. They are the safe haven. They have taken away from this battleground finally after a quintuple overtime.
Oh man, it was everything that Cornell had They had such a huge advantage. I cannot believe how deep this game went, but gosh, impressive that Western Kentucky were able to keep their mental straight this entire time. But I do have some concerns because that was Western Kentucky's map pick, Los. They elected to go to Haven and they lost it. They went for it and it didn't work out. Now they're going to have to do it, but on the opponent map pick, and that's even scarier. The fact, though, that Cornell have now set themselves up to win this series by beating Western Kentucky on their map pick. I always talk about how difficult it is to beat the same team twice. Cornell now in position to do so.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be surprised if this is a map 3, Vincent, because this was not an easy victory for Cornell by any means. No. It was actually a swift execution to get onto map point, but there was some sort of mental block, something that was going on that prevented them from being able to close, and they were able to do it here on Haven, but it still remains a question, will they be able to do that on Lotus, or will there be another block coming up again? We'll find out in just a few moments as we head to Lotus after this quick break, so don't go anywhere. Naystar League Valorant returns after this. Welcome back to Naystar League Valorant. We wrapped up map 1 after a historically long map of Haven for both of these teams, 17-15, Cornell taking it, and now they're about to move on to their own map pick of Lotus. Things aren't looking too good for the Western Kentucky camp.
No, they're not. Fun fact, actually, I think that might be the longest Valorant game we've had on stream this season. Don't quote me. I'm pretty sure, though, that is the longest we've had.
Sounds about right.
On stream. So maybe we can beat that here today once again.
Let's not!
Or maybe not. But what we can do is get Lotus underway. You know I'm excited for it. You know I want to see more of this. And you know what I think is going to be the key to success here? Realistically, when I look back and think about what was going wrong for Cornell in their attempts to close that last map, it kind of felt like to me that they just were taking duels on their own on the defensive side. Often. Not all the time, but often. And then they couldn't get a retake. They just couldn't find any retake for the life of them.
I mean, that was a common issue for both teams being unable to work out that retake, but I have to agree with you. You can't take those singular fights. I mean, we saw Vision beat out a garage and take a decent amount of fights in success as well. But the same trick isn't going to work, especially not for the rest of the team, because they played in vital positions, whether it is on A, C, specifically talking about Court Nemi when they would get hit with the paranoia. Well, there goes the entirety of C site, you know? But
yep.
We're here on Lotus, which is a all aim no think map, which I think is a contributor to why it is picked so often, is that you don't really have to think, Vincent, you just shoot.
Is that the case? Is that the community consensus right now? Is that Lotus is just aim your gun map?
That's what I'm feeling, because that's
Okay.
what it's pretty hard to develop very quality strategies when it comes to attacking. You just need utility to break into sight and smokes to block off potential angles for a retake. You just send everything in, and it doesn't really matter. It's all utility dump.
You know, I totally get where you're coming from, and I think there's certainly an aspect of that. What I also think is interesting, though, about this map is that it doesn't lend itself to, like, just normal takes. What it is basically you can't have an execute. You just have to pull rotates. Much like what Haven is. I mean, it's hard to execute on Haven. There's a little bit more to it on Haven, but less so here. So I think I'm with it. I think I'm on board. I've been convinced, Los.
It seemed like you convinced yourself there more than I did.
No.
I put
It was
the idea
all
there.
on you. You put the ideas in my head. You drive this ship that is my brain.
Wow, I never knew I had so much power as to impact the brain of Vincent Cast.
You
Now
do.
what? Will we be able to cast a shadow of doubt on this execution from Cornell? Well, it's already there. They made it onto the site, but Lend is going to have a whole hell of an issue to try and take it. Well, I'm saying that, but they've just turned it into a one-on-one. Looking at a 3K, no utility for Savior. They've got a Frenzy, and in the long-range game, that's going to be a problem for them. And we're going to have Lend just walk out with a 4K. My God.
It really was the frenzy difference right there. Cornell and Lynn specifically has really had that clutch gene all game on Haven. Didn't necessarily have all the success there, but it was like close every time. I think back to that double spray down they had over at the A site that was a near miss. Just didn't quite have enough time to get the defuse, but it was still fantastic. We saw that a few other times, generally speaking, for Cornell, Lynn being part of that. With that being said, you know, one thing I'm noticing is that this fade has now become a consistent factor for breadsticks. And I don't feel like we've seen a ton of fade on Lotus. I'm not remembering too much of it. What about you?
I think it can be pretty difficult to line up those haunts. And the seizes is going to be, honestly, very compositionally dependent. So you may not get a great deal of combinations with those. I mean, Vision looking for some combos off of that Marshall. Only good for one. But in general, it's, from what I've seen, it's pretty rough to maneuver the utility here.
You know, I think based on that and on Haven, which I'll get back to in a minute, that we saw breadsticks on it, I think it's just a comfort type of thing. The reason I say that is I actually did some looking about what the, like, VCT Americas is looking at, like, pick rate for the Haven side of things. And consistently Fade, just no longer in the comp, is picked as often as Viper for Haven at the high level. So I think that makes it clear that probably just a comfort thing. And Breadsticks has been playing very well on it. That's not a knock by any means. Just an observation.
Yeah, meta isn't the enforced rule. You can move away from what is generally picked, and experimentation leads to new metas. Just because everyone is doing it doesn't mean you shouldn't change for yourself. And this is a message to all the young gamers out there. Don't believe the hype. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Savior gotta be themselves for just an extra second before being taken down by Cable, though.
It's all about synergies too. You know, synergies with your team, synergies with your other agents, etc., etc. This is a B-site retake though, and okay, well, it's never mind. Just not happening whatsoever. Nice shots. That's a very nice floating gun right there, just on the sidewall. Nonetheless, you know, that takes me back, Los, to my days in Overwatch ranked when I just, you know,
Let's
on a
go
Genji
back.
every time.
Okay, well, hold on. I don't know about all that.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter if Genji was trash. It was just about getting the nano boost and the blade every time.
I mean, I guess if that's the case, really, that's all you need to find success. The synergies.
Yeah.
What we were talking about. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. See, I was bringing it back. It wasn't just to terrorize you.
You lost me for a second, but, you know. Here we are, back on B site, which we've often described as an absolute death trap. But when you're dealing with a lockdown just to clear it out, which is the common strategy to vacate it, a forced vacation of your opponents, is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's like nobody's home. You have sort of like getting an Airbnb. It's all to yourself.
Sadly, now we're going to have to deal with the self-cleaning fees. Cornell College, can they pay the bill? Might be able to find that out. Western Kentucky, they'll walk right on in, but we know exactly what's going down if they activate the plant or the defusal. It's going to be an orbital strike. Banthanor, completely unexpected by Western Kentucky, is just sitting, chilling, and dropping all the util they need.
And the Molly came in just a moment before that. Brilliant stuff. Nicely done. Just a confirmation of everything else. So Cornell, or no, Los, I'm getting some flashbacks. Isn't this exactly what we saw in the first map? Wasn't it 4-0 in timeout?
I'm not saying nothing until we get to the defensive side. Listen, Cornell, they can do all they want on attacking. They're great at it. They're fantastic, but so is Western Kentucky. When I see them start to put up some numbers on the defensive half, hey, maybe I'll get excited about this team.
We can conversate then, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Alrighty. You know, that's fair. That's fair. I won't hold that one against you because, yeah, Cornell definitely did a number on my confidence after that crazy first map, considering they had what, like 7 map points, and then in overtime they had, I don't think, did Western Kentucky have any map points in overtime? Maybe 1 out of 4.
You know, because they were always playing catch up because they were on defense second.
Precisely.
That was the issue.
I know.
So they were never able to get that upper hand because they always started on the weaker side.
Yeah, they were certainly working from behind, unfortunately. With that said, the timeout is over, and it's time to see what Western Kentucky have cooked up for us, Los. They do have the chance to pick up at least a Thrash. That's 1 ult orb away, or 1 kill away. But otherwise, it's actually a little bit further from that. I mean, there's also the best ultimate in the game. Your favorite, the Neural Theft. That's 1 orb away, too.
That's a banger.
So is that Dizzy hitting precisely where it was required, and I like this aggression from Kentucky.
Yeah, the Goop gave the confidence for Western Kentucky to take some space. Sadly, that space is being taken right back. No! An even duel. 2 for 2.
When the Thrash.
And it's... Oh, that's going to be a big issue. And it vacates that whole area, forcing them away. But the question is, do Western Kentucky commit? Will they continue to fight this down? Lend is expecting it.
Oh, man. And Devran a little bit too loud. Yeah, that was ambitious to say the least, man.
Good start by both teams, but it is all falling apart for Western Kentucky. Vision Oh. That was a good idea with the pre-fire, potentially catch out breadsticks, but it just leaves them in a position of certainty. Well, at least certainty that Cornell is aware of where they are.
That is a certainty. And Cable with a 3rd kill in the round. That's going to be 5 in a row for Cornell. This is a much better looking Cornell thus far, Los, than we saw at the end of map number 1. But like you were saying, they did show a little bit of this on the beginning of that map as well. There was a good idea from Western Kentucky at the outset of this round, of that last round rather, by getting aggressive towards A. They had 3 players push up there. They even found what was a pretty significant advantage initially, but it was fought back. And from there, Cornell just rotated out. Just decided, yeah, sorry, you can have that area. We do not care anymore.
Breadsticks securing a nice opener. And as you said, I'm still finding some difficulty in the effectiveness of this Fade utility. But as long as the shots are ringing true, that doesn't matter. There seems to be a bit of misconstruing of the truth on those shots, though, as King Devran activates the Rolling Thunder. But Lend is right beyond that area of effect, giving them a position to work with. They'll be stuck in that snakebite, the vulnerability. Only for a few moments, Lend has to play Ring Around the Rosie, as is ever frustrating.
Oh, man.
Must be aware of Kiwi's location, but Kiwi, they've got the game sense, and the victory will reign supreme for Western Kentucky after 5 rounds in a row.
Huge bailout right there as well from that Rolling Thunder. Turned quickly into a rolling blunder as Western Kentucky nearly lost out. The aggression taking Devran out immediately, thus putting Kiwi in the clutch, but Kiwi delivering massive round from them. Run it back available now, as well as the Viper's Pit. And that's another thing. Where is the Harbors? We have not seen Harbor for like 4 or 5 games on Lotus, Los. We're getting trolled.
Just seeming to harbor grudges against this controller. Not sure what the case is.
I can't imagine. Oh,
Perhaps
this
it's just
good lockdown.
A bit difficult, and we're also talking about the comfort picks. You know, this is a desperate situation. This is the last chance qualifier. You're not trying to do anything new. That's not in your real wheelhouse, because if you lose here, you're out for the season.
Yeah, everything to this point that you've been working towards comes to fruition here and now, and it would be brutal to lose out because you made a very serious mistake. Here's the run it back into a 4-on-5, but it could be equalized. No, it's actually Cable.
A great pull by Cable. They walk right into the mosh pit. Hortonemi and Devran whittle it down to just 2, but Lend has been clutch so frequently. And they're looking to do it one more time. It all depends on the sound cue. That's what they're waiting for. In Courtnemy, they've revealed themselves. They could use that cyber cage, but the second that they hit the tap, yeah, that's the orbital strike. It's all about delaying the inevitable, and it's an inevitable victory one more time for Cornell.
Yeah, Western Kentucky doing a bang-up job getting around to the board. Great stuff, and Kiwi deserves all the credit, Los, but unfortunately, that's where the credit ends for Western Kentucky. They gotta get rounds more consistently. They can't just win one round and call it a day. That's not how this works. You gotta be able to put these together. And with the run it back used last round, meaning that only the Viper's Pit and the Neural Theft are available into this next one. Well, the limited weaponry they have on offer, I just don't know that it's enough.
The reactivation of the Poison Orb, I mean, Showstopper on the cards might be a question, might be in the conversation, or at least utility expenditure. That's what we're going to see for the moment. Door activation by Vision. They'll take a freebie on the Classic. Why not?
Yeah. Those breadsticks being eaten up immediately. I'll have more, please. That said, equalizer being found, but okay. Where did Kiwi come from? Just popped the head out.
Vision again. working together. That had been a gripe for us in the previous map. They weren't working together. Now Western Kentucky has scraped together 3 kills and may be able to turn this into a rifle recovery. But the issue is, who is going to be available? Who is going to catch out this potential rotation? It was hoping to be Banthanor, at least in the idea of Cornell. That's not the route they will take, coming from CT instead.
Yeah, double Nano Swarm as well. That's going to make it a lot more difficult to make your way onto the site. And there's a Molly, though. I don't know if there's a good lineup onto that. I haven't seen enough Brimmy on this map to know that for certain. What I do know is that Durant, great job forcing them off, making them play with the Molly this time.
The verticality of that Molly is insane. Panthanor went too close for their comfort, but at this point, it's far too late for Durant to turn this into a victory. And although they secured a kill, they will most certainly not secure a victory. 7-1 right now. We are in a dangerous runaway here for Cornell.
Yeah, this is starting to get... I mean, it's almost beyond out of hand at this point, but not quite, right? Like, if Western Kentucky were to somehow win the rest of the rounds this half, it's all good. That seems beyond the pale at this point, Los. Just a little bit outside of reasonable expectations. I want that to be the case, but I just don't think it would be. Fortnemi continuing to sit on this neural theft. I know you're not a fan of it, but I really feel like you just got to use it. Sitting on neural theft is just never ideal in my book.
The thing is, Kortenhemi has to be near an enemy corpse, which there haven't been many for them to last long enough to secure.
I mean, that's fair.
That's a bit of an issue. That's kind of a prerequisite that they are not meeting. Flashpoint from Devran. Nice. Unfortunately, there's no follow-up. Huge thrash. Kiwi's got to secure the kills. The spray was almost too much for them. But this is a fantastic opportunity. However, it's dashed instantaneously. Lockdown put in place as well. There was no chance.
Yeah, Cable just found a brilliant little opening there. Has been good consistently now. And Lynn continuing to lead the way. 14 frags for them. Banthanor at 11. And it is number 8 on the board for Cornell College. They're rolling. They're farming right now. This is outrageous. Moving on into this next round. There's, weapons, sure. But it feels like more of the same isn't going to do it. There's aggression actually towards pillars, though. 2 players are there. This is a good decision, maybe, but, it's going to be caught.
Oh, Lens is good for 1. Better than none, certainly. Fett, looking for an opportunity. There will be none. It is a destruction of the cyber trap, which is not bad, but talk about even better. It's Devran with a 3K.
Close. They did the thing. They went to beat without the lockdown. It's just death. It's never a good idea. Oh, man. The B-side is simply a death trap. That could be an Assault movie, the B-side. I am absolutely convinced.
Yeah, what's the personal lesson that leads into the Saw trap? It's that you had enough pride to think you could actually take this site. And that's the whole challenge. Just take it.
That's right, yeah. Or just hang on to it more aptly.
Just everyone from Cornell like, ah!
Yeah. You're guilty of pride. Yeah. Well, with that, at least Western Kentucky having something to work with here. That aggression towards Pillar actually, as well, pushed Cornell into that decision, I believe, considering they were feeling the pressure from behind, so they went through the vent there on the left-hand side in order to make their way onto B. And so with that, this is a bit of a slower approach. They have been more of a default this round, they being Cornell. And there's the Nightfall. Out towards B, there's only one player there to be caught, though, and it's actually not a commitment. Instead, it's Fett finding an opening, and that's towards A.
That's critical. Nobody else is on this site. You do have a bit of an issue. It's Gecko. It's Vision. That was the saving grace to keep them in this round, in this site. Now, victory is simply nowhere in sight. Neural theft. What good is it? No one's died in Cornell.
Yeah, you do indeed have to have a death at least. And Courtney finding that that's actually far harder than it really should be. A tough task. There we go. Are we going to see it? Seems like the answer no. Just going to hang on for the time being, but a 2-on-4, Los. Surely not.
It's much too far. And you know, time is ticking. Utility in play. It doesn't even matter if they can break onto the site. Look how spread apart Cornell is. No one's on the site proper. They've all vacated. They've all left. They said, sure, go ahead. Defuse. We don't care. We've got everything we need to stop you.
Yeah, I mean, Lind was there. I mean, worst case scenario. They had a Rolling Thunder. That could stop them just fine. Cornell at 9 rounds here. It was an 8-4 half on Haven. We thought that was good. Well, now it's even better. A beautiful adjustment here for Cornell into the second map. Really showcasing how that struggle that they found to close out on Haven wasn't them. That's not really what they're about. They can potentially bring things to fruition here on Lotus. 10 seems possible, but it won't be easy.
Maybe with this usage of the blast pack, simply get onto site, trapwire destroyed, and this utility doesn't feel so useful anymore. All it's done is prevent an increase in fervor. To get onto the site, Fett will have to swing, and maybe it'll be right through the smoke, and it certainly is. Rolling Thunder is going to be fantastic, but it's only going to amount to 1 kill. Banthanor responds, firing right back with the orbital strike, and what a mess has been made on C. It's 10-2 for CC.
That is certainly an impressive way to end this entire half. And it sets this map up for, well, a quick close. Realistically, I mean, I don't want to say I don't have faith in Western Kentucky, because you know what, they deserve our respect, Los. They showed us that they can make these comebacks, and they even did it at a pretty similar situation, right? They needed 7 rounds to come back in that last, where they could only give up 2, and now, I mean, they need 8, and they could only give up 2. Not that big a difference, really.
Certainly not. It's possible. It all depends on this pistol round, if they can take it. That's critical. If Vision gets the kill here, that is their opener. That is the plan. The spike is already planted as well due to the wingman, but Fett, as well as Cable, coming out from vent. They want to take this one down for themselves. Fett, now with an extra paint shells, that's going to be critical inside of B main. It forces the rest of them away. Kiwi holding on to the angle. The flashpoint blinds them completely. 2-on-2, make it a 1-on-2. We've seen a clutch situation before. Breadsticks will stand tall, though, Vincent, and this is the beginning of the end.
Yeah, that pistol round, I mean, you could argue not necessarily a requirement, but in my mind, a requirement. I'm making up my own rules. Vincent University. And it is a requirement for admission to get that pistol. Beautifying the comeback close. Western Kentucky in position now where you just have to give it their all. Just send it.
That's also a prerequisite course for Vincent University.
Yeah.
Western Kentucky looking for a transfer and a full ride scholarship. They got to make a move. A big blind off Dizzy to gain purchase to walk through. Sadly, that'll only buy them death. And you cannot return to sender. There are no refunds. What funds have left them with such low weaponry? A Stinger's not going to come into play in this long-range engagement.
The sadness continues when you look at the fact that Devran is one of those down in this scenario. One of the most consistent fraggers for Western Kentucky, entirely out of it.
Oh my god, Vision just somehow able to walk across. That was absolutely absurd. And they take the site.
Oh, but they don't know. They've got no clue. Never mind. It's just that's a shotgun. Excuse me.
The buck.
That's where the buck stops. With Banthanor. Gonna be a 2-on-2. Low health, though, for one of these players. And they got a cross. Oh, but... Oh! That's a freebie. The spike got away, Los, but is it gonna be enough? 9 health for Breadsticks, and I think not too much more for Kiwi.
All they got is a stinger in the poison orb. But at this point, it's a trade game. Stay alive, survive, work with your teammate. And they're going to play it out in the Army of Two style. They just got to have each other's backs for this one.
It's going to be so difficult, though, with the HP disadvantage. I mean, even though one of these players is low, for Kiwi, it's maybe not enough. But Kiwi's position's actually very good. It's just unfortunate the area that Cornell is already clearing is, well, where you would take the most time.
There it is. There was hope using that poison orb to stave off a defusal with the lineups, but it's such a tight space there on C site for that to be an effective plan. And it's landed them in map and series point 12-2. Such a stark contrast to the scoreline the last time Cornell College got their first map point.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it, too. The map point that they grabbed, it felt like Cornell were already starting to lose themselves, right? They had already lost 4 in a row. They finally were able to resurge for a couple of rounds, rather. And then they got that map point. Now, they're in control the whole time. They have this. And it feels like it's just a matter of closing it out. Thrash dismissed away.
It's a deep engagement into the back of B. And they're only sent back. Savior will have another chance. Kiwi not quite the same. And the walls are closing in. They've got spikes. They are sticking to it. Western Kentucky, they've got the spike down. But it does not matter at all. There is no hope. Dizzy's going to blind him for a moment. But Vision can't even walk through the molly to stop the defusal. But that's a good enough opportunity. A chance taken, but a chance thrown away. Or at least stolen away by Cornell College. They will take map 2 in a excruciating fashion if you're a Western Kentucky fan. 13-2.
Yeah, but if you're a fan of Cornell College, damn, did that look good. Comparing and contrasting the first map to the second, it was as if Cornell, they needed a bit of a warm-up. And in fairness, it was Western Kentucky's map pick. Let's not pretend like the expectations were anything but WKU to win that, and it was just a great job from Cornell to close it out. Let's not take that away from them, but the reality does still stand that, well, Cornell, they fixed all the problems that they were experiencing there. No issue closing. They were able to hang on to sites. I mean, not that they had to take that many of them, in fairness, but they just were so consistently able to find those frags and have success in defense of those sites. It was brilliant.
Yeah, a major change of the skills that were on display, or at least I would have to say it comes to a confidence scenario where Cornell, they simply felt that they were in the driver's seat. They felt that they were in a better position to win, and it was clearly displayed. And I'm excited to see them continue through the LCQ. A good effort by Western Kentucky back on Haven, but simply not up to snuff on Lotus. And we'll be able to get a chance to talk to one of the players from Cornell in just a few moments, so don't go anywhere. Star League returns right after this. Hey, welcome back to Star League. Series 1 of the night ended in a Cornell College victory with a crushing victory at that back on Lotus. And now we have an opportunity to talk to Breadsticks from the victorious squad. Breadsticks, how you feeling? How you doing? It was a grueling map 1, but you made it look easy on map 2, man.
I mean, yeah, that was a long first map. You know, we were prepared. I've been preparing a lot for this match, and I expected that was going to be where they were going to go, and I expected they were going to be pretty strong on it. But wow, man, that went on forever. Apparently, nobody can defend that map.
It was a struggle. I mean, we were seeing the struggle. At one point, we were wondering that ourselves if there was ever going to be an end. Thankfully, you guys were able to close it out. My question is actually about specifically the decision to go towards the Fade, because you were playing Fade on both maps, and not a problem by any means. We're playing very well on it. Well, a lot of teams have kind of gone away from the Fade composition, particularly on Haven. What's the thought process behind that? Where are you using that utility to get the most value on that map?
So part of it is just, I think it's a little bit easier to just throw hunts on find people. You can use a little bit less brain power. And the other part of it is, I just really enjoy the Prowlers and the Seas more than I enjoy the drone. The drone is, in my opinion, far too expensive. And coming from, I have a decent competitive history in Rainbow Six, having like just basically drones is really, really nice for me, and it just lets me get a ton of intel of what's going on. So it's more so comfort and lets me do what I want.
Well, I mean, we were speculating a little bit along those lines, so I'm glad to hear that. And my second question is more general for the Cornell College team overall. Where do you guys see yourself? Obviously, you know, moving forward through the LCQ, I mean, that's fantastic. Had a relatively competitive season already. Where do you guys see yourself heading into the playoffs? Do you see yourselves competing for the victories here? What's the best case scenario?
I mean, I think we've got a real shot at making it all the way through this. The teams that we have upcoming, or at least based on what I'm kind of expecting to happen with the bracket, are teams that we played right early at the beginning of the season, and we lost a player over winter break who graduated. So we had a new player, and things weren't exactly rolling right off the bat. But I think now we've had a ton of time with this roster, and we're starting to really, really get into the swing of things. I think same thing with those guys that we just played have really improved. But I think now that we're really pushing to go pretty far, I can see us making it all the way through this bracket.
Yeah, well, you certainly made your way through this series, at least on the second map, with ease. And, you know, we've seen a ton of collegiate teams pick Lotus, and it's become an early adopted thing in the collegiate scene. Why exactly did your team, or does your team, pick Lotus?
So, when Lotus first came out, I was on winter break, and I got...
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
Well, we'll find...
Oh.
Oh, there he is.
He's back.
Sorry, the internet's a bit iffy on my laptop. It's an old piece of junk. But what I was saying is just I put a ton of time into Lotus on the beta right when it came out, and for a while it was our pick this when nobody else will pick it kind of map, and kind of, you know, gimmicky, because nobody else knew how to play it. We played our first series against these guys was the exact same map pool, and it ended up going to a third Lotus, and it just shows that we really prepped for it. And I kind of ran with that throughout the season, just being like gambling that teams will be preparing for more standard maps when we can just take a bunch of time and put it into Lotus and hopefully snag a map and get that kind of advantage.
Well, hey, there it is. You know, being that first mover advantage definitely has his perks. Well, congratulations again on your victory, Breadsticks. You and the rest of the Cornell College crew. Excited to see you advance through the rest of the LCQ and maybe even the playoffs. But thank you for joining us for the broadcast, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Of course, good luck with the rest of the series and take care. that's going to wrap up our first series of the day. We got another one, another banger coming up with Varsity Premier. Don't go anywhere. Naystar League returns right after this. And we're back for more Star League action. Are you ready? It's the final best of 3 in this last chance qualifier, round of 6. Threw a whole bunch of words at you, but really, we gotta get down to the action. Viterbo coming up against Bushnell. This is going to be a rematch from week 1 of this semester.
That is what's so much fun about the LCQ, about playoffs, about all of these things, is we get to see where teams started and where they're at now. They've had a lot of time to prepare, to get ready for this precise type of play and this matchup with Turbo going up against Bushnell. It was a 3-mapper back in week 1 during that play, and ultimately it came away with Turbo taking it 2-1. But that was a long time ago. We saw how things could change in our last matchup, and we will continue to see that. Let's introduce the teams and talk a little bit about them here. As Viterbo University and Bushnell, it's 3-3 for Viterbo, and Bushnell, unfortunately, didn't have the greatest of situations. They're currently sitting at 2-4, but don't let that fool you. This is a team that they have fought hard consistently. Their losses, they've taken maps, 2 out of those 4 losses off their opposition. And so with that being said, I think that despite the fact that on paper this looks maybe very clearly in the Viterbo camp, we're going to see something a bit closer.
Yeah, and that's that scrappy playstyle that you love to see, and that's what's going to get you through the last chance qualifier. So let's take a look at who we will see in the server from Viterbo. It's going to be Honey Inspector, BCD, Draven Dubs, a Sigma male, certainly on the grind set, I would imagine, and Solomon. Over on the Bushnell side, it's going to be Crow, PT Loser, maybe PT Loser, if we can convince them in the correct ways. Reform Jura, Pexy, and Unfazed.
Yeah, interesting to say the least. I do have a question that is just on the tip of my tongue. What is Jura reformed from? I do wonder about that. Only they will know, as I don't have an answer, but good for them.
Perhaps it's better left unknown, right? It adds to an origin story. But let's take a look at what maps we're going to be heading toward for this series. It's going to be looking like a classic, but we have a fun little twist at the end. It's Haven, Ascent, and Pearl, which we have had a real lack of Pearl this semester. I think it's because it goes back to what I was saying. Lotus, a no-brain map. Pearl, you gotta really think about it, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly have been thinking about it because I've been wanting to see some more of it. But from the player perspective, certainly that's the case too. Haven seems like a map, though, that we just, with the fact that Bind is gone, it's like Haven is just the map now. I almost feel like it's more common than Ascent. Is that too crazy?
I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. Honestly, Ascent is usually on the back burner. It's going to be Haven, Lotus, and if it comes to Icebox or Ascent, that's the decider map, which is crazy to see how it's often being pushed to the side, pushed away as a decider. You know, I would have imagined that Split would have been in the conversation a lot more, but not to be the case. Sad enough. Best map, in my opinion, which is also fact, by the way. But there's one thing that we all know is that a Sigma male always has to be on that grind set. Obviously, Breach is a true grinder.
I mean, yeah, that's true. If there is one agent in Valorant that is the true grinder, it does have to be Breach, doesn't it? Just feels right. Feels perfect. I hope we get this Neon, actually. If Turbo it'd be fun. It'd be fun to see that. We're going to see if everything goes to plan for Bushnell. And yeah, with this lock-in, a bit of the older composition, actually. This is a bit of a different look than what is maybe standard. You tend to see the Omen, we've got an Astra. You tend to see the Jet, we've got a Raze. You tend to see maybe a little bit more of the Sova or the Sky, we've got a Fade. It's all just a little bit different, but that's okay. Different doesn't mean bad. And as we've talked about consistently, there's a lot of synergies within this roster of agents selected. The other side of that, Bushnell, they're going to be going with a Brimstone. That would be a first in a while. And I'm always down for some Brim.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one. I'm a big Brimbo Simpo because he just has a lot of fun utility to use the Sky Smokes. Though when you're on this map, you are quite limited because of how large Haven is. If you aren't playing on B site and there's a hit on either A or C, you'll have to sacrifice giving up your smokes. You won't be able to have that full command and really live up to your name as a controller.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is with the Brimstone selected. There's some weaknesses, but there's absolutely some positives. You got a little bit longer that those Sky Smokes last, and on top of that, you can put them down very quickly indeed. So, that control being gathered as we see what is on the console. It's going to be Bushnell on the attack to start out with, and Viterbo defending. And so that defensive setup, particularly with the phase and the fade and raise, I just combined them into phase on the A side of the map, being a factor that I want to keep our eye on.
You know, I would have to say the fade raise, the phase combo started off very interesting, but kind of lackluster when we really had an extended period of it. Like the organization's namesake, it's really not as good as it used to be. A lot of the value, if we're talking how much stock it has in the scene, it's almost at zero.
Yeah, it's sort of an all-time low, if you will. Certainly agree, particularly on this map. I mean, I mentioned it before, but the fact that we have two fades is kind of fun because this is definitely something that has been moved away from in the pro scene. And I mentioned it, I'll mention it one more time. Has the same pick rate on Haven, does fade, as Viper at like 3%.
That is a wild statistic. I remember when Viper was considered, like Viper on Haven very briefly had a moment where it was a almost sane pick. I'm glad those times are over. I think it was when the decay was immediate 50 damage. That's when they had that moment.
There was actually a couple moments actually when the Viper was there, but yeah, we've moved very far out of that realm.
Thankfully. Anyways, it's gonna be Bushnell moving very far into C site. They'll take it easy peasy. 1 kill under their belt just to start things off.
This is good look. Bushnell being able to get that kill and then fall all the way back, but they're sticking around. It's PT Loser specifically chilling on the back of the site. That Nebula makes it hard to actually get out of there, and it will be their death.
It's a tough one. However, it's not that bad at all for Bushnell. They're lackadaisically, and I don't mean that in a bad way, it just seems so casual of a fight for them to hold on to the site, the post plant, and seems so effortless.
Yeah, really did look easy. Got to agree with you there. And the other side of that as well is that they ended up kind of taking those early tools, or I mean, PT Loser did specifically, lost out, but then the rest of the team just kind of popped in, said hello, and it was all she wrote. So, start of this first map, Viterbo's pick not going their way, at least for the pistol round. It'll be a save, an eco coming up next. And I don't think we're going to get really any upgrades. It's actually a single shorty, but there's all 5 members right here at A.
This is going to be a big deal. Whoever walks through into short is going to have major problems. Crow is going to be a bigger problem. End of the day, though, at least 2 go down. It certainly was a massacre in short, though. It's kind of what we expected. However, when there was only a shorty involved in the conversation, listen, I like it. I even would go as far as to say I love it, Vincent. But that wasn't the main goal. It wasn't victor. It was try and get something.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's so tough to find consistency in rounds like that, and so you just gotta give it your best shot and push on forward. And that's exactly what Viterbo going to be doing into this next round. They've got a good position into it. Up against a bonus, they are the heavy favorites.
Freebie dash onto B, pushing into C. Link, or A-Link, that was going to be such a critical opportunity. The flashpoint didn't deliver what it needed to. But it is going to be a spike plant regardless. Pexi hoping to finish the job what their former teammate, former alive member of the team couldn't finish. It was Reformed Jura, however, actually doing the work in this position. Now left in a 2-on-2, 1 HP essentially for both of them. That's going to be a hell of a fight to take.
Well, and of course, Sigma Male continuing the grind will find those 2 frags. It was relatively easy, a bullet apiece, all that was required. The defuse happening as well. Maybe not as dominant considering the bonus for Vit Turbo, but you know what? Wins are wins, victories are victories. You cannot be complaining about those at this juncture. Certainly not. Which now, we'll still stick with the lead, but they are not working up against a Viterbo that's in a bit of trouble, and this is a mistake here from them. They've gone for an investment on the players that can afford additional money, but they're actually saving essentially in this round with some extra guns to maybe give themselves a chance. You win a round, you should never really be saving.
Yeah, it completely takes away the power that you've worked so hard to try and ascertain. And Bushnell, they don't have to try too hard to take C. It's been this way both times they got onto this site.
I mean, that's not inherently a problem, though, for Viterbo. They can just take their time, set up a rotate, and then invest all the utility that they have at their disposal on this retake. That said, taking this back is going to be difficult, especially when you have that opening pick going the way of the Bushnell side.
PT Loser. Good one for them, and it's a strong realization of what this plan is going to be all about. Sitting in C long. Will this even be a commitment of the Nightfall? It was a questionable maneuver, and it still remains questionable. A perfect execution by Honey Inspector, but no one is going to walk out with survival. It doesn't matter that they had the final kills. It was all about time wasted by Bushnell.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? I still stand by what I said last round about how a mistake made in that the full investment didn't come through. But if considering that was the case, probably the best case scenario for them other than winning the round, right? They get everybody down. They take out a bunch of guns from the hands of Bushnell, and in fact, because everybody fell, they're forced onto a save themselves. It's now Viterbo that have the advantage, and they can rebuy because of the save. So, not ideal initially, but it's worked out beautifully.
Now let's take a look at round number 5 on the cards. Lockdown is available here for Unfazed, and that's an easy peasy site take. I don't even know if they want to use it, want to make a commitment. Rather, they're so confident that they'll just use it on the post plant. Would be a good opportunity if Draven Dubs didn't absolutely take that out of whack. And another one, a showstopper even. Everything's on the back of this raise. Potentially a second kill on the paint shell since another use of it has come up.
Yeah, and damage done at least a little bit with it, but the Blade Storm's still available, Los. That can maybe make the difference at this point.
Goes good for one. But BCD and crew, they'll be able to finish things up. That is such a crazy turnaround, and it all comes back for Draven Dubs to be able to be in that position to stop anyone from Bushnell to make an entrance on the site. They had so much confidence walking in. It was immediately destroyed, though.
Yeah, Draven doing such a good job, and even in that they lost a player on the entry, right? Like, Crow finds that pick with the blades. The fact that in order to get there, Draven makes them run through the paint shell, thus losing one, so it's really just a 1-for-1 and then the showstopper to follow it up. It's just really good stuff to see. That said, Viterbo winning that round, an expectation. This one, a question. As we head into it, it's the full gun round. Really the first time we've actually seen everyone at their maximum. And that's a bit crazy, especially when you think about the fact that it's actually just in round 6 now that that's happening.
This is definitely an interesting development here. inside of Haven. Sigma Male in the back of B-side. They're staying alive, and oh my god! That kill onto Pexi. Certainly something to behold. And that'll be the price of entry onto B and the plant as well on top of a lockdown. It's all about the post situation. A decent amount of utility to keep themselves safe, but they all have to worry about getting on the site in the first place.
Well, that's a good aftershock. Gonna force back players. Ultimately, to be precise, the hold on this site seems very good as there's only players coming from C-Link. A-Link has been entirely pulled away at this point.
Solomon, good kill onto Loser, and this is all falling apart. Crow in the top rope, but they're only good for one onto BCD, and there's the Viterbo equalizer, and it's not going to go the time this round. It almost seems a little sketch with the extra sounds coming through, but Viterbo is not going to lose another round like that.
No, not this time out. And I actually think that it would have been better for... I know what Crow was doing. Crow obviously didn't realize... it had no way of knowing that all of A-Link was clear. But it would have been better once that information came through to try and set up a crossfire with the player's backside. They both go down for free and there's no trade. And Crow could have been the one to find that. Instead, kind of waits. Isn't able to do anything into the last moments. And it's downhill from there. Bushnell, speaking of downhill, it's... sort of a down moment as their purchase is limited. Nice Marshall skin, though.
Some would say.
I would say. Well, that's going to be a great paint shell. That sees. It doesn't end up getting a kill, though, but the big damage.
That's what it was meant for. A play like that. Solomon with confidence in the swing after the use of the haunt. He'll go for everything. Last bullet headshot as well, to truly solidify a victory and taking the lead as well.
Great utility usage on the A site for Viterbo. They made all the right calls. They stalled things out for long enough for the entirety of the defense to finally get there and take the fights. And even when the defense came, Solomon was doing it all on their own. You mentioned last bullet. Yeah, the confidence just to sit there with 3 or 2 bullets in the chamber, whatever it was, and take that final fight. Saying, yeah, don't worry, Los. I'm going to hit the headshot, dude. I don't need to reload. My R button's unbound. There's no need. 4-3. Viterbo with an incredible resurgence. After those opening 3 rounds, go Bushnell. And it's Crow, though, to find the opening pick in a very big round, especially now that the B site, or C site, pardon me, is wide open.
Oh, just a bit too late on that shot from the haunt. Sigma Male puts in a bit of damage onto Crow, but they're not going to be taken out. I don't think anyone has any realization Sigma Male's in the corner until Crow takes the liberty and removes them away. It was almost a commitment of the Nightfall. We've seen 2 baits of that usage of the ultimate not actually coming through. This may be a necessary use just to get some information.
And there it will go. Finally, as Loser picks up that 1 frag, it's just 2 left alive. And the Cosmic Divide seems unlikely to find success, so that's not even an option. Now down.
It's up to Draven Dubs in a 1v3 scenario. Hit with the haunt. I mean, it's not impossible for them to clear out this site, but can they do it in time? Here comes the paint shells to clear out Garage. No, they will rather play their life, keep the rifle instead. But that'll mean Pexi doesn't keep theirs. But it's 4-4 now. A back and forth brawl here between Bushnell and Viterbo.
This is beautiful. Resurgence from Viterbo answered in that last round, but again, similar situation as before, right? Viterbo, they don't win the round, but they have a player survive, and they kill everyone. They find all the frags, and Bushnell, their money's in the bin. I mean, they're buying, which is the right decision. They're going to have weapons out, but they are going to be limited in other ways. You see half shields for everybody, pretty much. The Blade Storm going to be invested on the 1 full shield player. That's Crow, who had the extra money because he's using those blades.
Honey Inspector is going to be that first point of contact. No stars there to keep them safe. It's all about gunplay. One is good. It seemed that they almost looked down to activate a star, but there was nothing there. Pexi will do their due diligence and clear out the rest of the site. Rolling Thunder prevents the plant from actually taking place. Flashpoint and everything else you need to walk on the site, but it's up to Draven Dubs, who loses on that swing. The spike still isn't in play, so there isn't a necessary motive to take this site, but Sigma Male with 2 kills just wants to flex their strength. BCD in the back of sight, looking for an opportunity, and it'll have to come in tandem with Sigma Male, who's up in heaven.
Oh, that's a perfect frag though from Reformed. BCD had the lockdown, didn't get a chance to use it, and at this point, despite all the work done by this breach, it's 1v2. The crossfire set.
It's an impossible scenario. No matter who he killed, no matter which direction he looked, it was an inevitable trade, unless it was a 180 for the Millennia. And Bushnell will take it back. Victory is exchanging hands, and I would imagine it'll do so quite frequently in this map.
Yeah, I'm getting the vibes here, Los, that this is gonna continue to be competitive because it was last time out. That was all the way back in February, by the way, very the beginning of the season. That was these two teams played just about 2 months ago at this point. Back out towards C, and you know, it is something we've continued to notice. Maybe Viterbo could use a few more C players at times. Like, they keep giving it up, and I don't think they've really been successful retaking this site.
Possibility now with the lockdown, yet the placement of it is going to be one of great question for BCD. They're so far away, but yet I don't think there will be any commitment to that one, especially with just pistols in hand and a single rifle there for Sigma Male.
Well, I mean, maybe the Cosmic Divide could have been used, but that too, at this late juncture, seems unlikely, and well, won't be. Will be just a few frags gathered.
Whoa, wait a minute. That was a lot more damage than was previously expected. It's not going to win the round, but it'll certainly make it a costly one for Bushnell. They'll take it away. It'll be 6-4. Yeah, that's not a situation where you want to lose more money.
No, not in the slightest. But Bushnell, they've confirmed at least 6 rounds in the half. That's big. And then secondary to that, they've also made sure that you can buy into this next round. They're going to be close on 2 ultimates. I mean, they're going to have a lockdown plus 1 orb and plus another. It'll be the Rolling Thunder for PT Loser.
Stay safe.
Of course, all of those things are great, except Viterbo already has a leg up. They've got 3 of their own and ready to go. But it's a very one-sided approach currently for Bushnell. They're going towards A. How do they keep finding the open site, Los? This is a little bit disturbing.
It's just that this team, they could read their opponents, maybe not read books. That's what they're going to university to learn, because they've already got this skill down pat. Freebies all around. And this is the exact post-plant scenario they need. Crow is in the position to become a legend, but this legend does die.
Yeah, we were all lied to. We thought legends never died, but this is not the case. The lockdown finally coming through. And there's a showstopper to be had beyond that. The Haunt finding massive success.
Solomon and Draven Dubs, and they're going to work this one together. It is such a long run for Unfazed to make this race. Almost able to stop the defusal, but at what cost? What would it have granted this team? Not much. Just a few more seconds until Pexi would fall to the same fate.
It's that the showstopper was available, but the Cosmic Divide was so well placed. The coordination between the lockdown and the Cosmic Divide making it so difficult. And again, great defense of the diffuser as well. Looking like Viterbo might just tie this game up, but just wait a moment more because it's not over yet. A little bit less than ideal. As Reformed Jura as a stinger. There's a Spectre there for PT Loser as well, but it's still a very competitive purchase for Bushnell. They could
Delayed nanos. It's gonna hurt Crow a decent amount, but that'll be it.
They've fallen off. They've decided, you know, we took the space, we tried, but it's just not worth it. And this is something I've seen. I've never seen this setup from a defense ever before. So stacked towards garage.
Oh my God, Draven dubs with a quick 3B. Holy cannoli, they took it. And they'll fall for the efforts, but they will take that any day of the week. Bushnell are crippled. They activated the Rolling Thunder, but it's hit nobody. They've got nowhere to go.
Yeah, they've only found ghosts over there in middle. An unfortunate turn of events. And, I mean, just the fact that Bushnell were all lined up there is outrageous in and of itself. That said, here's the approach. Last two players on to B.
Honey Inspector. Quick work of Crow. Crow good for one, but he'll be one and done. A 6-6 half for Viterbo and Bushnell. Evenly matched, to be sure.
I'm curious. Is Honey Inspector a real job?
Probably it's a sub responsibility of anyone in the apiary profession. That's beekeeping.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But like, do you have a job title, Honey Inspector?
I think that would be quality control at the honey packaging facility.
I mean, you're right, but Honey Inspector's so much cooler.
You know, I mean, caster, also known as an esports commentator. What is a caster, right? Are we casting spells?
Yeah, true.
We just got to give ourselves this fun title because it's gaming, you know?
I mean, you're certainly a wizard on the microphone.
You know, I feel like it when you compliment me like that, Vincent. Thank you. You're a true scholar of esports.
I try. We'll see. These scholars, university system, able to find their way into a victory. Turbo on the offense this time. And they sort of thought about going towards A, and then thought better of it. And now, back towards garage. The C side is overwhelmed. There's 4 players here to defend.
Oh. Loser had no chance. Unfazed is going to have some problems as well. Aftershock from the grave is going to be the only frag they've secured in the midst of the chaos of the execute, and it'll still continue to be the case.
One enemy remaining.
It's a bit of a yikes when you have 4 players on the site and you only get one of them. A rough one from Bushnell. Pro alone. Has the upgraded pistol, at least, in the Ghost, but I mean, there's only a few low HP, and Sigma Male was the low HP, and it didn't matter. There was nothing to be had. 7-6 now for Viterbo, and remember, last time out, the Viterbo squad beat out Bushnell eventually in the third map. This is the Viterbo pick, and this has been highly competitive the whole way through. But the defense has been the much tougher side today. And it felt like Viterbo had to fight tooth and nail for every round they got.
Will that continue to be the case? Certainly not this round. We'll have a blast. But the big question is, will it be an Aftershock as the lone source of a kill? As it stands, it's kind of looking like it.
Yeah. There's still 2 players remaining, but they both have classics. So, I say both, as if there's only 2. There's 3. I'm just not able to read.
That's tough.
Yeah. Maybe I also need to get involved in one of these universities.
Hey, you know, I hear there's casting scholarships, right? You might be able to run one of those up.
That's true. That's a good point.
Well, speaking of running it up, Pexi might as well run it onto the spike and let that one relieve them of their duties. Maybe even take a frag. Give it a shot on the classic. Why not? Nah.
I'm gonna want to go down here. Though, I mean, to be fair, didn't have to. But better than giving away a additional 300 creds. So, time is now for the purchase. And this is where the bonus round comes to fruition. We saw last half, Bushnell, they got the pistol, the anti-eco, but then weren't able to win in that bonus. Now Bushnell on the other side of this. A very spread defense. You got 2 towards A long. 1 player set up here at C. And well, it looks like, at the very least, this offensive maneuver from the Turbo taking space in short. And great work from Crow.
That's a big kill. And this is, I believe, a simple route that's done. Once the kill is secured with the tailwind, move away and jump onto the boxes to get a surprise attack on anyone in sewers. And there's no one there to receive that this time around, but we may see it again. At least that's a consistent play we've seen from Bushnell.
That's a good point, yeah. And it has worked in the past. So, certainly available. Oh, this is great work coming into the backlines. Nobody's watching, Los.
Draven with another beautiful kill. They've been able to find so many tasty moments, and this is just another on the platter of plays. Jura is in a position potentially to get absolutely mollywomped by surprise. And it's going to be such a hasty or really hastened attack. They have to do it. It was so risky. They didn't want to make the play happen. Apprehensive was the idea, and it was the vibe that was felt throughout the entirety of that play. You could tell with how slow they were making, with how much time there was left, or how little time there was, rather, versus 5 players on the site.
You know, and it all starts with the mistake from Bushnell. They just gave up garage. I don't know why, but they had 5 people alive, Los, and they just let it be wide open. Nobody was watching. Nobody even was watching for the spawn push. That can't happen again. I'm sure that Bushnell are going to adjust, but what an awful round for you to give up that area. And, well, for Viterbo to take advantage, seeing as, well, you had the better weaponry. You just couldn't take it.
It's what we call pain. Vincent, we call that pain.
Little ouchie.
An oof, ouch, ouch.
Something like that.
Pain on my couch. Draven Dubs. That's a painful one. Not landing on top with the blast pack, but you know what happens.
Well, Draven just continues to find success. And just dodging left and right. Will even get out of there. How is that allowed?
That's what happens when Bushnell just doesn't have any hardware to compete with. Might be an opportunity for a kill for Crow if Draven Dubs got a little bit closer, but the way this half is going, no one is getting close to Viterbo.
None whatsoever, and Draven is just farming right now. 22-7, Los. That is impressive. And there's still more to play, though, I mean, depending on how much Draven continues this run of form, it might not be all that much, as double digits has just been gathered up by Viterbo University. Bushnell, on the other hand, an eco last round. They're into the gun round. It's time to go. They're going to make their stand. It is about that moment. We'll be seeing utility out towards mid once more, but I love this push. Look over at C. You've got the jet all the way down C long. A lot of info gained in that moment.
This is the moment for Crow to go massive. As Solomon reads that out, oh, perfect timing, or maybe imperfect timing for them. Bushnell has to have this opportunity go correct. If the flank is faulted or thwarted, it'll be over. Draven Dubs with the showstopper.
Oh!
It picks up 2. That's
What?
got to be the round. If they can circumvent this flank, which they now realize is in action, they have to act quickly. 2 kills secured by these 2 players, this dynamic duo. Draven Dubs already taken 2 with the showstopper. They want some more. They are going to get none. It's all about the post-plant utility. Loser hit with the Nano Swarm, maybe. No, it's not activated. It has to be Loser in the 1v1, but they cannot secure it. Sigma Male, after all this time, after such a big moment of hope for Bushnell, they cannot close.
Hope denied. And in that moment as well, it also denies Bushnell the opportunity for another purchase, another buy. They have to, well, I mean, I say have to, they're gonna go for the buy, it seems. Not gonna try for the save. And I mean, in fairness, I have a lot of money, so it's maybe more reasonable to get 3 rifles and a blade storm to work with rather than trying to save into the next round. Here we go. Blades out and Crow finding the opener down mid. Oh boy. Closer with a couple of frags. It's Exy as well. And with that reformed, I guess aggression was all they needed, Los. It was just a matter of time. Bushnell needed to tape their W keys down and they win.
I just wanted to strike back. It was wild that Crow was in a position of such dire commitment, met with the flashpoint in the face of Blades. They fell, but Loser certainly had risen to the occasion to go around in grass and pick up a couple. Punch Viterbo right in the face before they can even start their plan.
I mean, that's understandable. That's sort of what Losers do, is they stand up and step up in the moment.
Absolutely living up to their name. Viterbo, we'll take it to A, though.
Yeah, and they have a Rolling Thunder. I'd love to see this used defensively once they get onto the site, but it looks like it's just going to be that standard Nightfall Rolling Thunder combo. Unfortunately, they don't know it, but we know that, well, the site was already open. It was given up before they even got there, and it's the Rolling Thunder for the defense that's looking to find these shots.
Oh my god, thinking of finding shots. It's Crow. 2 down already. They're looking to up that kill count. And that'll be a certainty. Maybe even through the smoke, waiting as it dissipates. It's a 4K for the Jet. My god, a flawless round, and it certainly felt that way.
As soon as Viterbo were taking the reins of this map, right? We thought, you know, this is starting to look a little pedestrian. Viterbo, they've won like 5 rounds in a row. Crow just comes out of nowhere. Decides, yeah, no, sorry, that's not the plan. I'm gonna show you what the plan is. The plan is I just shoot them all. I'm down for it. Bushnell haven't done enough though. Viterbo are still in position to make this fight their own, to push them up to map point right here. Of course, with all of the investments in that last round, there's nothing initially available to set up a maybe set play or execute towards one of these sites. Instead, we're seeing a bit more of a default type of round, though. That default is heavily leaning towards the C site, and what I think is most likely going to be a C split. But it's actually the defense that has the read. Bushnell, they've got 3 players here.
Let's see if that actually amounts to a great defense. Well, when you have Crow on the case, it will be so. Hunting Inspector communicated that someone is on the platform, but the question is, what can they even do about it? And the answer, so easily accustomed and acquired, it's not a damn thing.
My ult's ready.
Yeah, no question about it. Bushnell, they had that set in stone, in the bag from the start.
Where are you?
Not going out. Good to see Crow just kind of hiding, waiting that out. We'll still have a read on the rotation, but there's only 25 seconds, Los. There's not enough time.
Nice kill for Solomon, yet it feels almost meaningless. There's an alarm bot the second they walk into that. And Nebula, if it unfazed, can stall out for just 4 more seconds. They could be a hero. It doesn't matter about stalling. It's all an inevitable play. Bushnell, previously looking Bush League, they are striking back in a fantastic way.
They've closed the distance. Now 3 rounds in a row. And they've got just 2 more to find. And, well, I mean, at least that spike plant gonna bolster the economy for Viterbo, but I think it's enough. We'll be seeing what they have to offer coming up soon. TM, we are in a bit of a tech pause, though, by the look of it. And, you know, that raises a question, Los. Is this going to be a Bushnell comeback? Or are Viterbo going to be able to close it? Where are they going wrong right now? Do you see anything that's obvious or unsure?
It feels that they're waiting too long to actually have an engagement with Bushnell, that being Viterbo. They are always on the back end of a fight where they're in the reaction phase. They are taking no direct action against Bushnell, and that's just a big issue. Also, on top of that, when you have Crow simply getting activated, it's tough to have that be your main play. You can't allow Crow to be the win condition, because if Crow doesn't become the win condition, it's kind of a problem.
Yeah, you really got to shut down the Crow show before it starts. You know, it's more about setting the tone and not allowing that to become a reality. That said, it's already there, so we're past that point. And so now you have to further adjust, Viterbo do. And I think that there's one thing that they can do to adjust to what Crow's been doing, and that's to double back a couple of times, look for that flank and be hyper aware of it, because that's where Crow's been finding some of their most success is actually on the flank. They are so willing to get a forward position and just straight up run it down and just get all the kills. Bait them in. See if you can find some of those openings. And it looks like Viterbo, they've got a plan in place. Don't know if it's going to be what I was thinking, but what I do know is it looks like it's going to be towards the A site. That A site just has one player. That's going to be Fade Solomon sticking it out. I love that. Just the one piece of utility. The fault line. Get control. Prowler. Peek out. Look for information. And this boombot is going to make sure that nobody's on the back of the site either. It all makes sense. The site is theirs. And it's not free, but it certainly is easy. But the lockdown is a problem.
That was the condition the entire time. Draven Dubs will take one. Good for them. But the real issue is going to be all about the retake. Bushnell, yeah, they'll have it for themselves. The site was a freebie, but the retake was even freer.
Hard to imagine things more free than that. It just looks so simple. You know, and I think that we're seeing something here from Viterbo that's a bit concerning. Their decision-making is a little bit too slow in that situation. I feel like the play that I was hoping for when you saw the lockdown was the counter lockdown. Something along those lines, right? Because there wasn't a plan in place to deal with that ultimate. If a team that's anticipating an ultimate to come will set up a plan for when it's used, or if it's used. Viterbo, it was like a surprise for them.
Another situation of them simply reacting to situations and not able to have a plan B or a forethought. Now that sounds a little too harsh, a little too cruel, but without this forward thinking, that's why Bushnell is about to have an equalizer after such a epic of a turbo run.
It's about being proactive rather than reactive, and that's where the best teams are, proactive.
Raven Dubs wants to be proactive with the Bucky. See if anything of the like takes place. Not quite. A jump with the Bucky. Not ascertaining any kills. Well, as I say that, it's a beautiful one with the Buck.
Oh, that's a bit of a mistake from Crow. Out in the middle of nowhere, despite the fact that the entirety of Garage was overtaken, Viterbo with a man advantage and a showstopper Cosmic Divide as well. Winnable with 30 seconds, Los.
Where's the plan? Where's the play? It has to head over to A. Or at least that's what Bushnell will be thinking. Because you have the long play. You've got Solomon sitting inside a garage, waiting for the exact moment that they will rotate, potentially put their backs to C-Link. But they certainly won't. Ever vigilant. But the timing doesn't allow. Or maybe the timing is all about distracting and ruining time for Bushnell's retake.
This is going to be a very late flank coming in. And he's got to hurry it up. It's just a 2-on-2 on the site. And the knife ball is going to make it all the more difficult.
A beautiful information. Pexi secures one. Reform Jura. Will they be around in time to secure the kill? No, they already... It came down to a thrifty Viterbo. After so many rounds, 4 in a row, they finally secured match point. But can they actually close it out, or will a choke lead us to overtime?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of deja vu at this point, right? Thinking back to the last series, Draven hit 30 frags here as well. Bro, not far behind. It is a duel of these duelists right now. 2 players leading their team in the fragging department. Now, asked to step up in what is the final rounds. And here's that flank I was talking about. Crow constantly there. Spots out the bot and decides maybe it's just not worth it. He's going to come back for more, and a very interesting setup for Turbo, considering that they are just kind of waiting, chilling out for so long. This allowed everyone to rotate into them.
This is going to be a big issue. Pro is in the power position. If this kill is not secured, that would have been a major malfunction. But with that, in safety guaranteed by the Jet player of Bushnell, they have everything they need and more.
That may be the case, Los, but still a winnable round. It's not over yet. Still a lockdown available. Still have the Cosmic Divide. Oh, but Loser, that's a nice shot. Gets the dink initially and then fires through the wood wall there to confirm the frag. Now it's just 3 alive for Viterbo. Only 20 seconds. They're going for a rotate, but this might be a little too late with Crow coming in on the other side.
Draven Dubs goes for the plant. Pro will be there. Activation of some sort of utility, and it's all too late. It's all too painful to watch. Only Inspector. What can they inspect from this angle? Caught in the fault line. It feels like the world is crushing Viterbo. This was such a colossal failure of a round.
Yeah, and what does it come down to, Los? There's one factor that turns the tide here. It's Crow. And it's not just about Crow getting the frag. It's actually Crow being smart enough not to push further. Just to hold that angle. Know that, yeah, everybody's just a day long. 4 players then rotate Bushnell onto the A site. And that's where Viterbo start getting the vibes that, hey, this is not good. There's like everybody here. And Crow getting that frag and then falling back. It's also wonderful to see. Last round of regulation. Do or die now or never. Viterbo need this round to close this game. And there's that opening pick. You've done it again.
Oh my god, Crow with the double. I feel like that in and of itself has given us an opportunity to move into overtime. Unless this could be a quick succession of kills coming from Draven Dubs, I don't see another scenario where that is the case.
Well, I mean, Draven will get towards the side at the very least. Lance going down. Lockdown is here. So maybe there's still a chance. The Cosmic Divide's going to be the one to go first, though. In this setup, alongside the lockdown, well, it's going to stop the regress for the time being, but it's only a temporary solution. Bushnell coming back in here. Blade Storm ready.
Nebula's making it so difficult for Losa to actually exit through. It's the first placement. Honey Inspector takes down 2. It's a 3-on-2. There is one by the platform. The last one is BCD. If they destroy the Nano Swarm, this is it. It's overtime. BCD has no chance. There's nothing they can do about it. And we are headed into OT. And a 3K for Crow. Why not?
What happened to the Nano Swarm? There was one there, wasn't there?
Must have been destroyed.
Oh, I just thought I saw it on the map. Honestly, maybe didn't even hear the defuse come through, considering the Rolling Thunder was happening at the same time. Regardless, 35 frags for Crow. This guy is unstoppable right now. On our second overtime on Haven this evening. We'll see if this one goes as long as the last one did, or maybe longer.
Might be the possibility. And we were talking about Draven Dubs, who supremely stepped up in the second half, but they have been at a standstill, a very stagnant ascent in terms of their kill counter. Meanwhile, Crow shooting up the rankings. And I think when these two star players aren't performing on equal levels, that's where you have Viterbo or Bushnell really get the advantage over one another.
Indeed it is. And Crow was certainly the turning point there to allow this overtime to even happen. Bushnell making a good read once again. And they're over here on the A site all alone.
Well, there's the information. Honey Inspector was spotted out. We've seen this play before. Is it going to work again? Oh, to fake out. Potentially. To make Viterbo have hesitation when it comes to taking Heaven. Doubled up even if they want to make that play.
Oh, the Haunt comes forward from the offense there for a moment. Aftershock as well. But Haunt finding a little bit of information defensively.
Oh, a jump scare of Draven Dubs falling, but they have Martyrdom on. A kill for them. Solomon with Yop and Ham and Sigma Male coming from CT. This is not a favorable scenario, but it's actually looking to change the course in such a few seconds.
I don't think they
but
have
there's
it.
no seconds left to defuse the spike.
Oh, just a second off. So close. The Turbo haven't won a round in ages. That's so rough. Absolutely brutal. They've got one win in the last 9 rounds? 8 rounds. I'll tell you, casting and counting do not go hand in hand.
Certainly not. Here's the moment, though. On the defensive side, it's up to Bushnell. Close this one out, and this is where they had their big time rallying. This is honestly the most favorable position for them to be in. The final round of OT, potentially, is where they're the strongest.
Indeed, and they've really not had a lead since, forever, really. It was so close early on. At least they're on the site. Arvid Turbo. Crow continues.
Up top, hit with the Prowler. Solomon putting in some damage. How long will that damage continue? The answer, it is not at all. No length in this one. Equal to the amount of time left in this map. BCD in the 1v4 just to stay alive. Just for double overtime. But you know, this time, it's over. Crow with a 3K. Who else would it be to close this one out? Haven will go to Bushnell 14-12.
What a comeback. What a ridiculous turnaround that was for Turbo. Man, nobody can close on this map, it seems, tonight. Bushnell taking the victory on Viterbo's map pick, no less. Los, that is a huge turnaround. This is now what initially looked like, okay, Viterbo close, but they're going to probably close things out on their own map. No. Now we had to Bushnell's own pick with their advantage. This is the 2-4 team that took the lead in this series, Los.
Yeah, spectacular performance and resurgence from this squad. I'm loving it. And, you know, we got to talk about the MVP. It's already known. It's Crow. The ability to simply jump into the face of your opponents who have such a big lead, the confidence to take those forward plays, those aggressive maneuvers, even though it could mean map loss, could mean match or map point. It's that ability and the mental strength to take those plays that allowed a Bushnell to come back in OT.
That's exactly right. You have to respect the fact that, well, there was never a question in the mind of Crow, at least not by the gameplay, that was a comeback that was happening. It was always going to be a comeback. It was just how many frags can I get before it's over? That was the mindset it felt like at the very least. I don't know what he ended on, but at last I saw it was like 35. I think it probably ended at more like 37. For one overtime? That's incredible. That is, I mean, it's hard to get 30 frags in just a game of Valorant. It is insane to get that many, even in just an overtime period. Impressive, to say the least, Los. But Sent coming up next. It's Bushnell's pick. Their chance to close this in 2 would be an impressive upset. We're going to head to a break. When we come back, we'll see exactly what they have to offer. See you in a bit.
We're back. It's time for Ascent, and Bushnell have ascended to the power position, stealing Haven from their opponent Viterbo's map pick in overtime. And they have one player who is truly a testament, a true formidable opponent. It's Crow. We do have opportunities with Draven Dubs as the opponent duelist, but they simply haven't shown up in the last few rounds, so maybe with some time to think about it, some time to cool off, they could reset and regain.
You know, I do think maybe that's just a little bit harsh. He did have 30 kills. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Yeah, in the last couple of rounds, it was Crow who had the high impact plays, the big highlight moments. But, you know, at the same time, it's difficult to be on all the time. So I think that you're right, but also Draven Dubs did fill that role well for Viterbo. That said, Bushnell is their map pick. It's a scent, and it is a reality now where we could see Bushnell 2-0 Viterbo after in the first series of this season. Viterbo beat out Bushnell 2-1 prior to this. What a ridiculous turnaround that would be.
Certainly. I mean, a comeback story, I would have to say, but one that has been in the making for an entire semester. You know, the real question here is, how does Viterbo respond to losing in overtime when they had the lead? They were so close. Victory was just a hair away.
Yeah.
And they lost it in overtime. It's all about the recovery, not really the comeback from Bushnell. Viterbo needs to come back now. The story is about them.
That is the case, but it also is a question of mental fortitude as well. Because losing in that fashion, having the lead, dropping the ball, and then fumbling the bag, it's gotta hurt. I mean, it does. It's gotta sow discord in your team environment. And now, Viterbo immediately, I mean, we're just, 5-6 minutes out from that? They've got to reset themselves immediately. They've got to think about, all right, that game's over. Doesn't matter what happens. This game, Ascent, it's all we need to care about. It's all we should care about. And it looks like we're going to see them doubling down on the duelist side of things at the very least. Double duelist this time, Sigma Male joining Draven Dubs, and Draven Dubs is on the solo carry pick. Has decided, you know what? I wasn't able to do enough on Raze. It's Reyna time.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Reyna is the move. Reyna is the energy that is needed for Viterbo. They need to simply drain the life out of their opponents because there's simply too much of it. They are brimming with health, confidence, and just general good vibes. And you can't have that in your opponents. You got to take those vibes down. You got to take them back, Vincent.
You know, you got a good point. Got to make sure the vibes are immaculate. If they're not, then you're not doing it right. Bushnell defensively set up well with a stack towards the A side. A bit of a poke out in the mid area. That's quickly forced back by some Killjoy versus Killjoy action. Time to go. Here's the A hit.
Oh, Crow is about to face some serious opposition. Both shots go wide, but that one will hit the mark perfectly, and it'll just continue the parade. It won't continue, though, as it is up to PT Loser. Hits him with the shock dart, and Honey Inspector in just a few moments is left alone. But they can join the rest of their teammates in the underworld because Crow sent them there with a 4K.
Why do they have to go to the underworld, Los? What if they went to heaven? You know?
They're Valorant players, certainly not.
Oh, that's a tragically good point. Feels bad, man. I'll be offering up a prayer for them. Nevertheless, Bushnell. No, that's wrong. Bro. Winning the round. It's a joke. It's a little joke, but nonetheless, still, Pro deserving the majority of the credit. The lion's share, even. 4 kills in that pistol round, and it looked damn good.
So what's the response? I mean, you've got the rifle. The Phantom picked up by Crow. It's simply a flex. And why not? Flex situation, an opportunity earned. Well earned.
That's a good point, though. You know, Turbo, they don't have nothing. A little upgrade on the pistols. Frenzy here. Sheriff there. It's not like it's going to be over immediately. But they are going back to A, which is probably the worst decision they can make, considering who's here.
Oh, bro. They've gotten 2 already. With the heart, they know Solomon was coming. There was nothing they could do to prevent it. Solomon knew what their job was. They had to just make the commitment. Like, I'm going in. I'm getting this kill. I don't care what the result is.
Yeah, I will die to ensure that this is not going to continue. Ensure that Crow is gone. And that was effective. Not so effective, that recon bolt. Probably going to need to do some more additional configurations of the geometry, but nonetheless, it'll be an easy closer or loser. 2-0. Bushnell going to take their time into this one. 6-1 for Crow to start. It'll be a buy into this next round, and 2 players down. This is going to be interesting what they decide to do. Crow already has the blade, so that's going to be, I think, their preferred weapon. And I guess on phase is just going to go light armor with the frenzy. If Crow just gets like 3 kills here, this is going to be outrageous.
You know, I wouldn't consider a save round even a thing for Crow. It's more of a discount round, right? Because they're gonna end up with a rifle in their hand. They're just not going to pay for it.
So really, it's more like a thievery round.
You know, some would say that thievery from the more well-off could be just a redistribution of arms, perhaps.
All right, Robin Hood. Nonetheless, it is a Crow adjustment over towards the B side. And that's where the entirety of the turbo are located. And this has been a fast rotate. The spike's not even down.
No shot. Oh, well, Crow removes Solomon. A bit of revenge.
There's the upgrade.
Anybody is looking for revenge onto Crow at this point. 3v4. Everyone's stuck on the site for Viterbo. So it's very easy to pick apart your opponents. VCD hit with a little bit of a wallbang damage, but as soon as the play commences, it'll be closer with the first one, but they're traded instantaneously. Crow removes 1. It's 1v2. Blades still an option, however. They can sit this one out if they so please, because it is the bonus round. If Viterbo loses everything for the victory, it'll cost them dearly.
The Blade's actually no longer an option, but yeah. This is good enough. And I think, Draven should survive. Oh, just barely. It's the dismiss, and it will be enough. The invulnerability carrying them over the line. But as you say, speaking truth to this one, the money is not good. It's pretty bad, actually. Sigma Male is going to go for the Judge. Might collect this orb, though, for the Blade Storm. And I think, actually, that's going to be the better plan. BCD, on the other hand, there's no amount of mapping that's going to get them to a rifle.
Here. Here.
Crow's just waiting for the opportunity. He knows it's going to happen. That's why the updraft, or the tailwind, rather, was activated so confidently. No kills secured, though. But at least the life and information are kept. Fake rotate.
Yeah, I was about to say, it uses the dash as well. But will be the bait and switch. This could be the a great call, really, though. The Crow under heaven here. It's not a easy place to actually dissuade him from. And that should give the information away alongside that dark cover.
Here's find nothing. And Crow finding everything. Another tailwind for safety, but it's all about keeping the players confused. For Turbo, it made it up to heaven, and that's the only chance for an escape. Solomon down on mid, completely away from the action, hoped for a potential avenue of success, but all the roads are closed here.
Yeah. Well, more aptly, all the roads lead to the same place, and that's in Crow's kill feed. Pretty devastating. 11-2. 11-2. Let that sink in. It's been 4 rounds. He's got an average of more than 2 kills a round. This is
New
smart
plan is go where Crow isn't.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I like this plan. This is a good plan, Los. I approve.
Sigma Male dashing in and getting decently close to CT to potentially stop anyone from peeking in that direction. But sadly, everyone from Viterbo, they're all split apart, spliced among themselves throughout this site, and not able to provide the support for each other.
A nice rock from Loser. And now a 4-on-2. The Seekers, I mean, you would think that they would have provided something a little bit more, but even that is really unsuccessful in the Molly, making it difficult to swing.
Jura, first one, and it's up to Honey and Spectre, and they'll do a decent amount of damage. Unfortunately, it just won't be enough Pexi to close out the final kill. But this, although it's only 4-1, it feels like there's such a large gap in between these two teams at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they're being crow diffed. That's the gap. It's pretty clear. And it's not even like Viterbo are playing badly here. We don't know if they're playing badly because they haven't been tested all that realistically. They've been just running into a brick wall by the name of Crow. I don't know why you've named the wall, but that's between you and the wall.
You know, when you run into it so many times, you got to give it a name at this point. It's just such a big factor. It's just a big factor in your life at this point.
Well, look at this stack towards mid. 3 players just about right there. Seemingly a crazy read, but there's actually a ton of Viterbo members in Hello Crow.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that was a sound cue communicated. You got Honey and Spectre as well as Sigma, both unable to take the shot. It's just so much pressure, and you can imagine how this must feel. Worrying about the boogeyman. It's Crow, John Wick 5 in the making. What can you do about it?
Yeah, I really don't know. It's not ideal, and even, oh gosh, Draven thought he could get out. There's no escape. Jurat to find that frag, and Crow applying the pressure. 2 members remaining with Viterbo on this eco round, and if it's not Crow, it's others, and it will be reformed Jurat this time. 5-1 the scoreline, and Los. I mean, this is the map pick of Bushnell, but this is starting to get a little bit scary. After such a competitive first map, I think we would have expected to see something a little different in these opening 6 rounds.
Yeah. At this point, Crow and Bros, also known as Bushnell Esports, they are simply running away with it. Ultimate's at the ready. Crow's about to get the Blade Storm again. Within 7 rounds. That is just ultimate feeding all day, especially with no orbs being put into place. But it's time for Draven Dubs to impart some vengeance. Death shall be imparted. Secured, potentially. Draven Dubs on the other side of that door. They want to look inside of Garden, but no one's biting.
Yeah, understandably so. There's a Hunter's Fury. That's going to be procced and ready. That's
oh my.
First shot getting a kill. On the second, not quite there, but maybe this can be changed. 2v2. And this is winnable now for Viterbo.
Solomon and Sigma working for this perfect moment, but it actually blinds Sigma Male as well. They had the opportunity, the thought, the angle to take down their opponent, and now it's all up to just run and gun. That shouldn't have happened. Loser gets it done, and they'll take it home.
He accidented him. Yeah, that's exactly what Viterbo's looking like right now. They're crying. They're sad. It's tragic. Feels bad, man.
It almost seemed like that was a misclick, too.
It was an accident, Los. I mean, obviously the intention was to get the kill, but like the actual shot, definitely accidental. It was like, oh man, ridiculous stuff. Bushnell, they've already got a good half. 6 rounds. They're already doing well. All they can get is more.
And they've thrown Viterbo back onto Eco. So the likelihood of this not going to a round 7 for Bushnell is incredibly low.
Approaching 0, actually, based on those 2 opening picks.
I'd say a big 0.5%.
Maybe 0.05.
Oh, wow.
See?
0.01.
We're just statisticians. That's what we're all about.
Okay, wait a minute. 0.05 again. After the crow
I
whiff.
would've
After the
been
crow whiff.
blown away if he hit that shot. And that's one of those surely not. This is a cool frenzy. I have no idea what collections that's from.
I know it's Battle Pass.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I haven't played enough actual video games.
No, we just watch them. We don't play them.
Yeah, talk about them too.
Mm-hmm.
Though, even you play more than me. I've been on a CS kick of late.
Whoa now. This is CS3.
Okay. Bro, just give them a break, man. What's he at now? 16.
This is just ridiculous. This is absurd. 3 ultimates though here for Viterbo. Rifles in hand. About to have a 4th ultimate as well. I think this round and really a second victory, it relies on this lockdown.
I got yous, okay?
Yeah, does seem that way. No, the Seekers are great, but the lockdown is what gets you from point A to point B, at least in principle. Let's see if they go for it here. Pretty much everybody but Draven gonna be out towards B. Yep, and there's that lockdown. Seekers alongside it. Counter lockdown being used as well, though, unfazed. This is gonna make it difficult.
They can run the race and get inside of sight. That would be good.
Oh, Draven got caught.
Unfazed, prep for that completely with the use of that alarm bot and nano. Oh my god. It was really a bait. It said, go ahead, try and run onto site, and it only led to death. But there's still an opportunity. It's 3-3. Unfazed is on the site waiting for Sigma Male, and they might have the idea, the information this is the case. Everybody hit with that haunt, so they've only got more problems to deal with. But 1, 2 are less on their list. It's up to Pexi, who realizes someone's in market. They could take out this player. Draven dubs. Gives an opportunity. That opportunity is thrown away, courtesy of Sigma Male, and Viterbo will take their 2nd round out of the 9.
Yeah, it was a very hard-fought victory, though. Immediate usage of the lockdown, then the Seekers, and, well, it was all going wrong for Draven there for a moment, but good recovery. Enough to give them the round, but is it going to be enough to continue that? 1 round in a row at this point isn't good enough, Los. They need to find consistent victories. One-offs, great. I'm not going to say those are bad. Winning rounds is always a good thing, but just winning the one, instantly getting reset, it's a bit tough. It's a trade back and forth. Sigma Male keeping the blades up and running. That's a good key. The Nightfall is available, though.
Loser looking for something. Ends up only getting information. Well, there are players here on the site, but that's a good arrow. It gives Viterbo a bit of fear. They have to move around. They have to stay mobile. And that is going to force them to never be comfortable, never have a good opportunity to get a grasp of the post plant. But it's up to Sigma Male and Solomon putting in the work, but now the final players are in A main. But the real issue is that Pexi is all alone. A good resurgence from Viterbo, keeping players alive for the plant itself and having structure in their post plant.
That's exactly what they needed. Sigma Male doing a lot of the work in the entry department, but it's not even just the entry, it's the fact that he takes down Crow. The first to fall is the carry right now for Bushnell. So, with that being said, 2 rounds in a row. Now that's step number 1 complete. Unfortunately, because of that run of rounds, it was 5 rounds in a row that Bushnell found. They're not broken just yet. They have enough money for 3 purchases straight. And Crow, he's got another opener. This time, he said Sigma Male down and says, listen, bud, let me teach you a thing or two.
Prefers the Shrigma Male. That's a much rarer type of male.
What
based
is
off of the mushroom people.
Ah, I'm learning. I'm learning new things.
Yep, look it up in your own free time, everyone in the audience. The big issue here, big ticket issue, is the fact that Honey Inspector TP'd all the way into B main, but they're gonna have some troubles, some woes coming their way, especially if BCD isn't able to secure Market and Pizza, but they're gonna take it with ease.
BCD, once fragless, now on the board. Oh, and that's fortunate. Way to get across. Judge! You know, you gotta give it credit. It was a valiant effort, but Crow's still alive, meaning incredibly winnable.
Pro looking for another. Yeah, they'll take it. A nice dash onto sight. Oh my god, Draven Dubs. They flicked, but still the speed is unmatched when we're talking Crow. A 4K for them.
Another one.
How many will we save, Vincent? It feels like the number is limitless.
It really does. I just don't know. I don't know how much more impressed I can be. What I do know, though, is that that's a lot of frags. I think it's like 22, 23, something like that at this point.
Here.
Last round of this half, though, the buy is going to be good for both teams. And how many times are we going to see them go towards A? It's like, go to A, you insta-lose. Go to B, you get the plant, and you try and win because you have a post-plant.
Go to A? That's not the play. But they might as well. Rose here in heaven and blocked off from the smoke, so that's the best opportunity so far. Not taking those early engagements and losses. Okay, no way. No way Solomon is killed here.
Oh, and Crow actually nearly goes down. Unfazed. Judges 1 member. Only to go down quickly thereafter.
Oh god, there's so many crazy scenarios. BCD will be the one who rises above it all. Solomon on top of it. A pleasant ending for this half for Viterbo. I don't want to say good, but it's just decent enough that they aren't starving for wins here in the defensive half.
Yeah, I think that Viterbo, considering the outrageous start to this half that Crows had, 4 is actually pretty impressive that they pulled that off. I would consider that maybe not a win, but a personal victory. That said, this round coming up, Bushnell. Well, now they can just decide when to engage, and they can, I mean, if they want it, they could just have Crow bait everybody. No longer the choice in the hands of Viterbo, it's in the hands of Bushnell. Back to A. It's 2 players here, though.
Crow dashing through. Here with the frenzy. And they're not here to make friends. Quick, you know, a moment's notice. They've taken the site. And 2 enemies along with it.
Interesting to see that Nano Swarm not go under the spike, rather under the door. Can create a lot of time issue, though, especially on a pistol round where it's taking a lot of time to get through.
Sigma Male. Oh, a ripper of a shot onto Unfazed, but they took so much damage in the meantime. that they are easy pickings for a follow-up. Solomon, the last one to enter into sights, did put in some damage, but this time it's Reformed Jura who stands among the corpses as a leader.
Indeed, yeah. Reformed Jura has been pretty consistent this game, or I should say this map specifically. Kind of the second alongside PT Loser. A good position to be in.
The folks at home, it's PT Loser, but as Los, head of Losers Gaming and the Supreme Loser, I'm looking at PT Loser as a top recruit and, you know, someone who kind of fits into my own lifestyle of being a Loser, so.
And as a personal friend of the Loser, I've just accepted this as a reality.
Yeah, sometimes you have to. Oh, Crow is just so close from Solomon. Solomon good for one on the shorty, and that's pretty much all you need. There's 2 barrels, but really the expectation is 1 kill.
Yeah, that's the reality. So very close, unfazed in the smoke.
Phased, you gotta get out of there. There's no hope sitting inside of the smoke like that.
We'll get out, though. Fortunate, maybe, but still, out is the answer. 10th round seems almost inevitable with the weaponry the way it is.
Playing in between, taking those turns of shots is how we have Viterbo slowly whittle down the forces of the post plant, but at the end of the day, it just will be impossible to take down this team in double digits. They've arrived.
He's gonna drop 30. This is so crazy. I mean, I know we talked about that last map, but it was like a constant build for Crow last map. Like always there, but it wasn't this. It wasn't just win the game for your team type of carry. It was just good play until the very end where he carried them over the finish line. 10-4. Use the bonus round. Bushnell. They were able to win it last half. Maybe they'll be able to do it again. 5 players up mid. Through catwalk. Onto the A site here in a moment. And who else but Crow going to lead the way? The dash forward.
Walking right around the generator. It's almost as if Crow doesn't know this is an official. They're playing like it's a swift play. And it's just confidence that they don't care to make these running gun maneuvers. Draven Dubs, I don't know about that one, but I know about this one. Crow's not going down, or well, Crow's going down immediately after BCD decides to impart their vengeance. Wow, that was such unnecessary victory.
It was. So, listen, props to BCD for hitting those shots. PT Loser was basically AFK right there. I don't know what happened, but they should have had that kill. Maybe they were reloading. I didn't see it from their perspective, but I do know that that adjustment from BCD was ridiculous and took long enough that it should have been denied, but it was not. Nonetheless, doesn't matter how you get it. A much-needed round, as you mentioned, for Viterbo, but it's a round where they were expected to win already. So, is it really going to be that big of a victory? I don't think so.
It's all about how they convert this next one. I'm not sure that'll even be the case. BCD has to run the race, escaping. They'll be able to circumvent this danger, but also Bushnell decide to hit a different spot. A flank was on the cards for Viterbo, but now they're second-guessing that.
Understandably so, considering they just went down. Bro, rare miss, and Draven will take that and run with it.
Now, firing squad certainly keeping Bushnell. They're locked in, unable to find safety. It's all about gunning this one down. They want to fight. They want to thug it out. It has to be the case. Maybe that haunt is going to reveal the omen. And Jura just, oh God, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, seemed to know that they were there. Maybe just thought it was 1 player. Instead, it was 3. And that's where the L took place. I mean, Pexi does have the ultimate to work with. Has some space to work the 1v3 as well. Spots out one as Trailblazer comes in.
Oh my god. Hit with the Trailblazer, but taking one with them in the grave. Viterbo, they'll secure their 6th round, and they're putting on a much better performance than we saw on their attacking half. Only 4 rounds away from an equalizer with Bushnell. Not too far of a distance.
No, that round a lot more relevant than the previous, and Bushnell being pushed back. It will be a eco round coming up for them. An offensive Bucky. That's something I don't see all that often. Guess who has a Blade Storm? You know it. It's Crow. So, an eco round like this, armor in hand. Yep, there it is.
Double updraft. No one's playing ball, though. They have to go in straight up. And that's what they'll do. Will the Crow Factor be activated? Oh my... Oh my god.
That's
On their
spooky.
side.
This is actually a horror game. I'm convinced. They got so many players up here in heaven. Gonna be difficult to hang on to it. Seekers insta-denied.
Oh my god, that blinded everyone, including BCD, so it gave Solomon and Sigma Male the perfect opportunity to come on through and secure the round. This is a brand new Viterbo
no!
University. Oh.
Feels bad, man. The Blades accidented. At the end of that round, no efficacy for those. And that ultimate wasted in the truest of sense. I thought for a moment that they picked up the Bucky, and I was going to be confused, but I was just mistaken. Solomon, an op for a Sky. That's a new one. Rare to see that. Not that it can't work. Not that it's a bad idea. Just different.
You know, when it comes to agents who use the op, would you say that the sky is the limit?
You know, I wouldn't, but you certainly would. And I'm glad you did.
All right, round number 18. Let's get a crackin'. Loser looking for something. Finding absolutely nothing. 4 players up in A main. But we also have a big dealer of pain and Solomon on the op.
And an insta rotate as well. 2 players are just so swift to get back to the A site, though they've elected to go away from it right when the party's getting started. So, not ideal, but if Pro were to take out Sigma Male, this would be a huge early victory. That fight won't end up coming to fruition, but that one sure will. The op, stop it though. And that's a trade you'll take every day of the week.
Certainly. Here comes the nightfall, though.
Oh boy.
And Honey Inspector gets a freebie. Sigma Male right on the other side of that door wants to continue the spray down, and they will, in fact, lock down in the cards if it's even necessary, which I don't think it will. 3 players up in heaven, and they're all feeling like that's the case, though.
The defense of Viterbo starting to make this comeback. It's getting spooky out here when you consider the way that last map ended up going. The comeback for Bushnell. What if Viterbo do the same? It's a pretty similar scoreline.
Certainly could be a possibility, especially if we're looking at the fervor that is being held by Viterbo. They want to continue this, and it's all off of retakes. None of them are straight up death matches. They're all easy retake scenarios. So that's kind of what we're looking at for Viterbo. They don't want to lose too many people on the immediate fight, and that's what I like. But it's also constantly harassing Bushnell from afar once they enter onto the site.
Hunter's Fury going to be called into action for Bushnell, but I don't really feel like that had any impact. I didn't catch that first shot, but the lockdown should be good enough. The Turbo have one of their own, so they can reasonably give up the site.
It's the best opportunity because they haven't lost anyone on the outset. And with Crow sitting inside of tree, this is the best bet. Lear Not even a question to go inside tree. They haven't decided to check it. Bro has the perfect opportunity to go massive, and they will alongside Unfazed. Last 3 players have been spotted on Heaven, so Unfazed will be the bait. No one would have expected Unfazed to just jump up and get the 4K. So confident that Solomon reduced the threat from Garden. They needed to think twice, and after a 4-round run, Bushnell is back.
What a fantastic spray down from Unfazed. That is so impressive. You don't often see opportunities to do the sprays like that in a game of Valorant, and delivering when it's the most required. Unfazed with a quad kill from right below on the leaderboard to on top very quickly. There's a lockdown for Viterbo, but we'll see how effective that's going to be.
Perhaps not as much as we'd be thinking. They need to survive. They need to get on site. Draven Dubs, you know, just doing a fantastic job of staying alive for as long as they can. BCD falls, and so are the chances of securing a 9th round for Viterbo. I mean, it's not impossible for Honey Inspector to collect something, but Bushnell realizes there's no need to fight this.
Well, and, you know, Bushnell have lots of low health players, so it would be a little bit of throwing to go for any crazy swings, but if they just hang on the site, well, there's just so many angles to clear. 1v4, even up against 11 rounds, you're almost certainly not going to be seeing this go through any time. So, Bushnell, something that's interesting about this round is that they elected to change the pace so significantly. In the prior rounds, they've not necessarily been slow, but what they have done is take a beat at the outset to deal with any possibilities of aggression from Viterbo. This time, that wasn't the case. They just ran it down mid. And it so happened that both Solomon and Draven Dubs were in that area. They both get felled easily, and the B site was wide open because of it.
What's the final, in quotes, final plan going to be for Viterbo? Because they have to keep this going for 4 rounds in a row if they want to take it to overtime, which they certainly do. They cannot allow series and season death to take place, and Sigma Male has a great start to it with a nice op kill onto Crow, the main villain for Bushnell.
That is an absolutely stupendous kill to find. Such necessity, as Viterbo will guarantee, both with the guiding light and then the seekers, that everybody's still right here for Bushnell. They have not rotated, though I don't know if the audio will be heard. Sigma Male won't be given an opportunity to take any shots either. Full rotate on for now. Sigma Male, all they have to do is turn to the right. They could catch someone off guard.
This judge is going to be fantastic. It's got to be checked, though. It can't be this easy. Unfazed. Oh, yeah. The read is there. BCD. And all the utility they had is thrown away. But it's not too far away because Sigma Male is in market with the op. And that is such a great threat. Question is, how threatening will it be if they're beyond the smoke? It's going to come up to the rest of the squad of Viterbo. Solomon, I have to say, is stepping up in such an incredible way.
No doubt, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a 2-horse race with Sigma Male right there as well. But Solomon has been a critical factor for the Viterbo comeback. There's still, though, 3 rounds for Bushnell to make this their own. What a storyline that this has become. Bushnell with the chance now to confirm a 2-0 against a team that 2-1 them earlier this season. From week 1 here into, what are we? Technically, this is week 10.
I can't count rounds. Don't expect me to count weeks.
That's fair enough. Here's the lockdown. First time we've seen it here towards B and the Blade Storm as well.
And Solomon's going down. They will sacrifice their life for the good of the cause. Sadly, the cause wasn't helped too much in this situation, but it's still... Oh, okay. As soon as I say that, Honey Inspector and the lockdown are securing this one for sure. Crow, even with the skill they've shown previously, can't walk out of a 1v4.
Yeah, no, that was going to be tough no matter how you sliced it. Even the Blades online, it's just not a realistic situation. 12 to 10 on double digits? No, the turbo. Oh, man, if they bring this back, insanity will ensue.
It's on the way. It's already being accrued in my mind. I'm losing more and more sanity as the rounds go on. Viterbo, they are in the opposite situation as Bushnell. Their opponents on map point, and they're gaining steam.
Gotta be careful. Bro, okay. That was a NOP, by the way. That was a Guardian V-Op duel. Casually won by Pro. Traven Dubs, though. Gonna get a chance. That jump, though, makes it difficult unfazed. Will go down, had 7 HP, so really the expected outcome.
Oh my god, Loser somehow takes that. But Solomon will take even more in revenge. But now we have it. The 1v2. BCD is the last one alive. No utility to speak of. A Nightfall at the ready. If Bushnell decides to use it, they've got so much working in their favor. But BCD just has their guns, just has their wits. In 30 seconds at most. There's the Prowler. Spotted out BCD. They're stuck on dice, stuck in this fight. Wallbang's coming through. BCD doesn't know where to look. It doesn't matter what fight they take. It's slowly ticking down. It's all going to the same result. Crow with a 3K. Bushnell with a 2-0. 13 to 10. They'll take Ascent and close out this series and the Turbo season for good.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. The victory here for Bushnell. The storyline confirmed, and a brilliant one at that. I go back to it time and time again, but so hard to beat a team twice in a season, and particularly when you play them early on. They have so much time to grow, to learn, and ultimately to potentially find your weaknesses as well. And it is exactly that Bushnell was able to find. Beautiful stuff indeed. And of course, Crow, what a player.
Come on, you gotta give it up to Crow. How many rounds came off the back of their entry? A 3K, at least 2 4Ks just in Ascent, maybe more if we check the tape back onto Haven. A phenomenal player, but also when you have a team that can back you up and play off of that, see the opportunities that you've created and just lock it down, because Crow is usually going to get involved in these fights and die as a result of that positioning. So having the rest of the team be able to stand up and close out the rounds, not lose their cool, it's gonna be a great situation. But if we're talking about the opponent team of Viterbo, they had some strong players as well, that being Solomon and Sigma Male. They were the ones who were truly driving that comeback.
Yeah, did a good job. I think that realistically Viterbo, it would have had to have been Draven Dubs to take a little bit more of an active role on Ascent for them to come away victorious. But, you know, props to Solomon for that step up. You noticed it, and I was noticing it as well. It was a valiant effort, but it just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, certainly not. And at the end of the day, it's going to be Bushnell taking their victory. And I believe we've got a player from Bushnell joining us. I believe we have PT Loser. That's his real name. It's not Loser. Loser. Congratulations,
yes,
man. You done it. You're continuing through the LCQ. The first map was a real nail-biter, and I mean the second one was as well, but it felt like you had so much more control going on to Ascent. What was the difference between those two maps?
I would say just momentum. Like earlier on Haven for sure, we just weren't playing our win comp, which is retake, because we got that double initiator set up with breach and fade, and so we were just smiling from ear to ear because that was a big comeback. I think it was like 7-11 or something crazy like that, and we just or 6-11, and so we just end up getting the momentum. All took our P breaks, and then we just went right back into that game. It worked out well.
Does a full bladder make a difference on your gameplay?
I would say it depends day to day, at least for me personally.
I think my first question is related to how this series was different from the first time you guys played against Viterbo in the first week of the season, actually. So you guys lost that series. Coming into today, what was the expectation, and how were you able to take the win 2-0 after losing out before?
Full transparency, we had some roster changes. So Unfazed, he's a track athlete, and we haven't been able to have him for most of the season. And now we got him on the roster again, and he's kind of an instrumental part. He's able to flex for us pretty well on that Killjoy, and so we were able to play with him on our roster. A little bit of a higher quality player too, so I feel like that was definitely an effect. And then also just our Crow Go Eliminate is a good strategy that we use, and Crow is definitely feeling it today for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what the total frag count was over 2 maps, but it was certainly like, I think it might have been 7, which is outrageous.
Yeah,
but
he's up there.
I do have to ask, what is the where did this name come from? PT Loser. How did you come to this name? I need to know.
Basically I drove a PT Cruiser in high school, and we always called it a loser of a car. So PT Loser was the name that stuck, and it's been my persona ever since, and I just been loving it every day.
Hold on, did I just see a dog in the background?
Yeah, it's our director of esports is his dog.
I thought you were about to say
now.
that the dog was the director of esports. I'd be like, whoa. Nice. Oh yeah, show off the whole facility. Tell me about the program that you got over there. What is it? Are you officially with the school? What's the support they give you?
Yeah, so we're actually one of few schools in the Pacific Northwest that offer scholarships for esports. So that's one thing that's unique. I know University of Oregon's around the corner from us, and they are just a club team, so they don't get much funding that way. But we're fully funded, and so we got like the athletic gear and all that stuff. We got the nice jerseys and everything.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we're Bushnell University.
All right, well, Bushnell University, PT Loser, you took the victory today. You'll continue through the LCQ. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us on the interview, and good luck in the rest of the competition.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, folks, that is going to do it for us. 2 series, 2 close, very close 2-0 sweeps, and it was a fantastic night overall. The Valorant action will continue. Don't worry. Myself and Vincent will still be here running it up, running it down to the very grand finals here at the Naystar League Valorant series. But for now, we'll be heading out. Thank you to the teams. Thank you to the fans. Thank you all for joining us, and have a good night.